Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily here on the Audacity Network. I am your host, Pearl, and boy, do I have a show for you guys today. Before we start, if you guys want, feel free to sign up at theaudacitynetwork.com. We also are on the App Store for both apps, or for Apple and Samsung or whatever other phone you got. I'm an Apple gang, so I don't really venture outside of that. Um, so that's the first thing. The reason I do this is because these women, they really try to ruin my life. They do. I'm currently being actively threatened with a lawsuit by Nala because I called her a whore. I said, you know what, ladies, I don't know if you can do this porn star to God grift. I don't know if you can do it. And she said, shut up, Pearl, or I will sue. And now YouTube demonetized me because another woman decided to call me a pedo. No evidence. She spread a rumor, an evil rumor about me, calling me a pedo. I know they do this to you guys all the time. They just throw this shit around. And so what she did was sent her I'll tell you what happened actually. I'm on an arc where I had a manager, or not a manager, consultant. I always say manager, and it gets me in trouble because then people think I'm owned. I'm owned by nobody but me. But when I first started, I did work with a consultant. You know when you can pay someone for your time? And he's a really smart guy. He gave me great advice. However, one thing he would always say is to not focus on drama and just focus on the content. And I listened to that for most of my career. I really just kept focusing on the content, not really giving too much time. I haven't even reacted to hit pieces on me. But it leaves my audience to question situations I've been in or how I got into these things. And I never gave my side. And recently, I don't care anymore. You know, they took away everything they could really take. I had to let go most of my staff. You guys win. You win. I went back to America. You win. You win, ladies. You win. Now, I'm going to tell you this one lady. I interviewed this woman on the street, right? And I'm doing street interviews. I do them for random women. And she was claiming that she was underage, right? So we post the video, it goes viral. Now after she's claiming she's underage. And I was so nice that even though it's not illegal, you can interview whoever on the street. But I mean, they looked old enough, right? I mean, you guys know how it is. And I felt like these women were lying for me. I did not feel like they were underage. I felt like they looked stupid. And that was why they wanted it to get taken down. They went viral for the wrong reasons. And so I said, show me the ID and prove it, and I'll take it down. Now, they refused to show me the ID and instead decided to make a Twitter thread calling me a pedo because this was a conversation on abortion and responsibility of if you're responsible having sex came up. I said, can I do a show in a bikini? What? Oh, can you guys hear me? Is there no audio? Really? They're responding in the chat. Do you know what? Let's see what. It said they're saying it sounds loud and clear on the chat. Maybe it's the website. I can't hear it back in me. You guys, it's probably some women attacking me. Okay, this is why I'm telling you to go to the Audacity Network. I'll go harder. You know what I am now? I am a scorned woman. These women have scorned me that I'm willing to go after your baby mamas. I'm willing, but I need your support. You know what I mean? I'm willing, but we need 5K members on the website. And I'll tell you what I don't want to mislead you guys on what I'm doing with your money. I will say my first year of business, I made a couple mistakes. And the first mistake I'll never make again was overhiring. I got one guy in this room with me. I used to have like 20. I got one. Because if things go south, if they ruin your life in some way, you're screwed. Yeah. I got. Now, I know Nala is hacking my internet. I bet she is. But essentially, what I would like in the future is I want to cover, I'm just not a tech person. I know, I guess it's a little ironic because we're having a tech issue, but I'm telling you, if it was just me in here, it'd be like 10 times worse. I don't know what anything does. So, a producer and an editor. Do I have more than that? Yeah, I have a producer and editor. Oh, I have and one other guy who helps me dig for clips at times and some other stuff. I'm not going to go into what everyone's doing, but you guys get the idea. And what would be nice is to know that even if this sponsor drops me, I can say, hey, screw them. If they say, Pearl, you can't go after that woman, I say, you know what? My guys got me. I could say, I don't have to start pandering and saying, oh, women, you're so amazing and special and awesome. Am I still cool? Yeah, I love Blessing. Blessing's a great guy, but do you know what? I don't know about these everyone's saying these H-1B visas are easy to get. Look, it was a visa thing. Do you know what I mean? But he's amazing. He's a great guy. No bad blood. I'd give him a video recommendation for anyone, but I had to go back to America because these women ruined my life and I couldn't afford London anymore. You guys win. You guys win. I have nothing. You win. You win. I don't mean to whine. I'm just telling you guys the situation. I'm lucky to even be here, but my hope is to keep on representing your issues because I am a protected class. I can say things that men can't really say in normal society. I'm lucky, right? So I'm hoping to get 5,000 members on the website. Now, what does this equate to a show? It's $10 a month signups a show every day for the year. And I think we're a little behind. I won't lie to you guys, but we could still catch up, or a $100 membership. A $100 membership, like a yearly show subscription. Now, I want to go through the thank yous because I need to thank you guys because really, you guys got so many women trying to steal money from you all the time. I can't imagine the life of a man because, you guys are like, I need to get sex. And the women are like, pay for my dinner. And the women are like, and you're like, look, I need to get laid. It's just, this is a need. I am a man. And the women are like, no, you got to pay. You got to take me to Nobu. And you're like, bitch, you're like 32. And then the 22-year-olds are like, I want a sugar date. And then you got your family that sister that just can't take care of herself, It's kind of me right now. Sorry, Dad. These ladies ruined my life, But, that you got to take care of too. So it's like your sister lost her job and she's unwilling to be a whore. So now she's got to live with you. Now you got to pay for her bad decisions. I'm not saying you have to, but you guys are good people. You do it. I see you guys in normal society. And everyone's, so, for me to ask for a $10 a month membership from you is real. It's like, I give you guys shit where I'm like, I don't work for free, but it's nice you guys to donate anyways. The reason men are so much more stingy with money, again, men $2, women $8. You make $8 off of women, $2 off of men. The reason you guys are stingy is because you work hard for it. We're just given these things. But anyways, I know I don't, I do the best I can, but my goal is 5 grand and it's really to just cover our costs and then I can move out of my dad's house. I shouldn't be this public about these L's. I really should. I gotta talk last. You know what I mean? But that's really what it's for. So if we get that many memberships, then you know, it does. They can't take anything away from me anymore. They can't ruin my life. That's the point. Now, I want to say informalities. I think that's the. Thank you for the $10 membership last show. Stufan, again, another wait, oh wait, how did I did the wrong thing. Okay. Then we got and I only say first names, don't worry. Matthew, thank you for the $10 a month membership. 100 bucks. Michael P. Damien, and I'll give you guys exact. No, I could tell you exactly how many members we have like next week. $10 a month. John, $10 a month. Another 10 from Chris. Like we've been doing better these last shows. $10 a month from Izzy. $10 a month from Richard. Another yearly membership from Terry. I cannot say your first name. Naja Yodi. Thank you, $10 a month. And I don't know if I read Charles or not last show. When it gets to around 24 hours. So thank you guys. We're almost to the point where one person's, I don't know if I should be this open about this, but one person's salary is just secured through this. We have like other stuff, but it's just a lot more stable if we can get enough on the website because then they can't delete me. I mean, unless they take me off payment processors, I'm not giving you any ideas. You lady, I gotta stop talking now. Anyways, that's the situation we're in. That's what we're in. So almost 2 million on here. You getting paid? They demonetized me a year ago because what the women did was they called me a pedo, and then all these women flagged all of my videos, all of them, based on a lie, a effing lie. I told her I would delete the video if you show me an ID, which I didn't even have to do because it's not illegal to film people and do interviews in public. Not illegal. The Tonight Show has done it for years. Yeah. That's my life. How are we doing on sound? Is it better? But they can hear me on YouTube, right? Is it just what is the network? Zoom, is it? Yeah, okay. So, Pearl Daily. Normally, I should tell you guys what you get out of the website. Is it live even? It is. What? Oh, it's not live on the website? So that's and the audio is just not going for the Zoom. Well, guys, should we just call the website and try again tomorrow? This is a terrible sales pitch. Well, normally you're going to get a year unlimited super chats, and normally that's the chat I read. As I said, we are a little short-staffed here, so everyone's doing their best. But it's the issue is it's not live streaming either, or it's the audio. Okay. Oh, can we turn it to the normal feed? Or we just take it off of Zoom? Yeah, why don't we just do that? Yeah, I mean, we'll deal with the caller later. We could just do all audio for the callers today if we want to just. Yeah, so you're still getting that. You want the mic a little bit closer. They're saying the audio is low. Why did I choose this angle speaking on men's issues? I can give you guys. Oh, that's better. I can hear it now. I don't know what you did. Wow, that's way better. Zach just sponsored the show. Thank you, Zach. Okay. You know, I do like to tell you guys these stories because I'm to the point. I'm telling you guys, I'm actually happy they ruined my life a little bit because, I like less eyeballs on me. I'm not really, look, thank you for sponsoring the show, Zach. All right. So there's a couple reasons I went into men's issues. Now, I got to be honest, at first, I didn't realize how bad dating was for men. But I remember the first piece of content from Red Pill that I heard, one of them, I can't remember the first, but one of them was Kevin Samuel's High Value Men Sheet, and this triggered me a little bit. But also Rollo Tomasi's, I remember Alpha Widow made a lot of sense because I would hear there'd be women like on my volleyball team. They all had an ex they couldn't get over even if they had a new boyfriend. And I remember thinking that in college, being like, dang, everyone's got that one ex that we just like cannot get over. Heard about the Alpha Widow, that kind of like started making sense. Then I saw Kevin Samuel's stream talking about high value men cheating. Triggered me a little bit. I thought he was a douche. 3 years later, he was right. I feel a little bad. Once I reacted and I didn't post it because I felt so disrespectful because he passed away. The way I reacted to the first one. But it was because I felt like I knew better. I didn't. Then I had a brother that had some like red pill issues, I'll just say. It says the audio is just low, but it sounds okay in my ears. Let me know if I sound okay. Before I get to the actual show, I want to make sure this audio is coming in okay. Yeah. Then I started interviewing men because I kept hearing that men were victims of divorce rape and men shouldn't get married. And I was like, what? My parents are married. Then I started interviewing men and it was just like crazy. Then I started seeing how men were treated because the women, they started treating me like they treat the men, and I didn't know how privileged I was before, like, like I didn't realize how okay, I'll tell you. So I was talking to my boyfriend the other day and I was telling him how frustrated I was with this demonetization situation. And how I felt like I should be able to just say what I want and da 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 da. And he said, "Look, you're experiencing what all men go through." He's like, "You're experiencing what men go through." And he's like, "Because at some point we say what we want and we're honest and we're punished for it. You are in a protected class. That is why you've gotten away with it as long as you have." I was like, F. And he's like, that frustration, that's how we feel when we see a woman getting promoted over us or a woman just getting paid double what we should get paid, even though we did better work. It's pretty demotivating, isn't it? It makes you just not want to do it, right? And I was like, what? Right. Anyways, I'm going to continue. Yeah, yup. So, now I just have a little bit more perspective. And that's kind of how I got into it. It's kind of a long story short, but it was something that I just found one day. Then my brother experienced something. Won't really get into it too much on this show, but maybe another day. I don't want to get depressed. And I said Pearl was complaining to her boyfriend. That's weird. Women never complain. I'm still a woman, all right? Leave me alone. I do the best I can. Oh, he really is the best. Okay, so why can't I see the live on the website? Oh, here it is. I got it. Let's pull it up. Okay. Thank you again to Zach for sponsoring this show. Okay. So the first thing I want to read an email I got from one of my subscribers. And I want to know your thoughts on this, guys. So I'm kind of testing this now. He said there's a book titled Born to Win, 1970, that Psychology Today called the greatest. The 4 pages are all you need to read, and winners and losers. Reading these 4 pages has changed a lot of lives. And among all things, it says the winners in life have the right timing. There is a right time to say, I love you. A right time to go to a job interview, and a right time to ask for a pay raise. My idea is you are right about upgrading JPT to a call-in format, but the timing would be better 7 to 9 p.m. For example, I have attached screenshots of 3 radio call-in shows from the 1990s on YouTube and get their ideas. Perhaps you can sample, the 1990s all came or were replayed from 7 to 9 p.m. Perhaps you can find their samples on YouTube and get ideas from their successful formats and styles. You have a gift for speaking, but most folks are working and doing something and have low energy in the afternoon. However, your audience of mainly single people is free 7 to 9. That is why radio shows were successful at night. And I thought this was a good point. And I'm not too keen on I don't love night schedules. But I wanted to know your thoughts, so put them in the comments. I'm considering it. Okay. So the topic today we're going to talk about is how traditional conservative mothers ruin their children with sexual shame in the modern dating market. So in 2025, traditional conservatives are still expecting their children, especially their daughters, to wait till marriage to have sex. America is not 1, not 2, but 3 generations into hookup cultures. Whores are showing everything they have on Instagram. 1.4 million American women are on OnlyFans, and traditional conservatives are still pushing this unrealistic expectation. I did a coffee thought about radical acceptance the other day, and in this coffee thought, I spoke about how I'm just letting the world burn now. Burn, bitches, I don't care. I don't care. I have had too many, I think this is how you guys feel, right? I've had too many hoes just try to ruin my life that I feel zero inclination to help, to feel bad. Women cry on the internet about getting pumped and dumped. I say, yeah, your own fault. I don't care. I don't. And you know what? Ever since I've had this position, I'm happier. Do you know the most unhappy people? The people that think they can save the universe. I have radically accepted that whores are going to be whores. Players are going to play, and the relationship guys are going to take some L's. Sorry, fellas. At some point, they're going to get W's, too, but, it just is what it is. I'm in my radical acceptance phase. So, women are going to get abortions. I'm not going to fight them on it. Kill your kids. Don't care anymore. I'm not going to, go out, say, please don't abort your kids like these traditional conservative women. I say, I don't care. Ruin your life, whatever. And if I were to talk to a room full of traditional, it's fake trad, conservative mothers, I would tell them radical acceptance is better than perpetuating the false narrative that being a virgin on your wedding night is the only thing that you should strive for and realistic in today's times. The only reason I can think about why traditional conservative mothers expect their daughters to stay virgins in the modern day is really to control them. And that's really what the church is doing and women are doing in the church. Their goal is to control the male sex drive. They cannot acknowledge, and we're going to get into this, that sex is a need. Young girls and men start to feel sexual urges 10 to 13, that young. The urges clash with the traditional what the conservative mother is saying and creates shameful feelings towards sex. The dynamic teaches women to weaponize sex against men to get what they want. So they don't trust the man. They say, I will only give you sex if I get the commitment that I want. There's really no incentive for them to be good people, right? The whores, they're like, I'm giving it up on the first night. I'm giving it up to everyone. So they got to work harder. They got to that's why you see them dressing they dress the way men like. They're willing to go get these surgeries to look like the men want them to look. They're willing to learn the Gluck Gluck 5000, okay? And it teaches traditional or young conservative leaning women that sex is the only thing to offer men. And it leaves them very unprepared for the modern dating market. So I made a PowerPoint, right? So I want to first point out, this is my PowerPoint, that sex is a need for men and for women. And the only people that don't acknowledge this are complete simps. And as you guys know, I am on the front lines of the simp epidemic for years. And I need to tell you guys about a quiet weapon being ratcheted up against men. It's really rarely talked about. It's not just the relentless anti-masculinity propaganda and OnlyFans hoes causing the societal destruction we see on the show. The link is the first link, second link in the description. It's one of the two. Did you know that the average city's tap water contains trace pharmaceuticals and endocrine disruptors? This often includes estrogen from birth control. The average adult contains a credit card worth of plastic every single week. That's 5 grams of plastic a week on average. So it's no wonder that the average male's testosterone is half of what it was 50 years ago. You know, testosterone levels decline 1% a year. Without a course correction, we're headed towards extinction. No matter how based you are, you need to be naturally boosting your testosterone. My friends at Chalk, CHOQ.com, are on a mission to save mankind from extinction by boosting your vitality. Chalk's Male Vitality Stat contains premium and potent herbs clinically studied to naturally boost your testosterone levels, sperm count, and overall vitality. We really wouldn't have the simp epidemic if everyone was taking Chalk. Just one of the many ingredients in the Male Vitality Stack was studied in double-blind human clinical trials to boost total testosterone 20% in 90 days. When you boost your testosterone, you'll have more mental clarity. You're more capable of making decisions and taking risks. Having high testosterone will also affect your pheromones, so women will find you more attractive subconsciously. Get the Chalk Male Vitality Stack right now on Chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. Use my name Pearl as your coupon code, and you'll get 25% off site-wide on Chalk.com. That's CHOQ.com. My name Pearl is the discount code. Okay. And if you don't like commercials, get a yearly membership. And if we get 5,000 of you, maybe, although I really do like Chalk. I know you guys think it's BS because, I always think every influencer's stuff is BS, but I used it before my marathon. It gets your heart rate going. I can't drink it during shows because I'll be up all night. It is pre-workout, but back to the PowerPoint. So, sex is a need for men and for women. Now, the church does not acknowledge this. This is a basic drive. The same way we need food, humans need sex. Now, you might think, Pearl, what is your evidence for this? You wouldn't think this if you weren't just a 304 whore and you just had some self-control, degenerate. That's what they would say to me. And that's what they say with that's what they say to men too. They say, don't sleep with these women, have some self-control. Now, I want to talk about the data that backs this up. So I asked the two question, what % of Americans masturbate? I know it's kind of an awkward topic, right? No one really wants to talk about that at dinner, but let's get this out in the open. 84% of Americans are feeling, and this is admitted, this is surveys, are feeling themselves. 91% of men who identify as men engage in sexy self-care. I don't like these words. It's probably a liberal who got this study, whatever. And those who identify as women come out in 78%. So what we're seeing, 80% of women, 91% of men. Can we assume the rest are fucking? Can we assume, like, according to surveys of users conducted in the US between September and October 22nd, 62% of male respondents reported having a habit of watching porn. So 6 out of 10, and remember, this is admitted, and to be honest, I don't think men love admitting to watching porn, like porn. I mean, is that like a W for you guys? Or you guys aren't proud of that? Do you know what I mean? Like, so now I started to think, okay, what about the priests? Now, I'm a Catholic, and I'm a bad Catholic. I don't like to use it, but I just want to give you guys the like worldview I come from a little bit. But all these churches are simps. They're all simps, all of them. And they've really lost my faith in institutions. I think you're better just treating your husband like a god. I think your life will be better from treating your husband like a god. That sounds nice, doesn't it, fellas? Than going to church and listening to whatever the Jesus man says. Yeah, Charlie says, God literally commanded men to be fruitful and multiply. Now look, I don't want to interpret the Bible. There's people that know more about the Bible than I do. And that's how women confuse you. They say you're not qualified to read what's in front of you. It's the same way they don't want you to like look at your personal experience to come to conclusions. And they're like, my study. It's because they can manipulate the studies. They do the same thing with the Bible. You could open the Bible and it says, hey, be fruitful and multiply. It's time to bang. And they'll say, no. It's interpreted. He meant this. And you're like, I don't know. Like, I think that's why they switch the languages of it. I think the only way we're going to get the truth is if we learn the original language of the Bible, because I've just seen how, like, there's no group that's not manipulated by women. And I just don't believe it didn't happen in the past. I know what, maybe I'm too black-pilled. I don't know. Okay. So according to research, what percent of priests admit to being celibate and like hitting that goal? Only 2% of people way more religious than any of us in the chat. A 25-year study of 1,500 Catholic priests found that fewer than half of priests in the U.S. even attempted celibacy. They have estimated over 100,000 men have left the priesthood worldwide since the 1960s. Okay. Yeah, okay, I don't care about this part. So 2% of men that are like trying to do, to avoid having sex, admit to achieving it. What do I think? It's so funny. If you guys watch videos of me like 3 years ago, I'm like, yeah, believe people. I just believe them. The world has taken that out of me. Half of them at least are liars. The world, I don't know. I think women, this is like delayed by a decade. We don't see the world for how it is until later. That's why you guys like the young women. You can just tell them, you're like, baby, I'll give you the world, and they'll believe it. I'm old now. I'm like, Anyway, so the church says wait till marriage. Now, I see the value in this, right? Women having a lot of sexual partners leads to problems. They're more likely to be on SSRIs. They're more likely to have mental issues. They're more likely to crave that variety and go back. And so there's a whole abstinence culture. And what the church thought is they thought, if we just shame the sex, if we just say no sex, no sex, no sex, that's the solution. The challenge you get is waiting till marriage gives the women the leverage, okay? Because what it does is men want, like on average, the research is saying Men think about having sex 19 times a day. Women, it's less, allegedly. Women are very sexual and we do downplay their sexuality. Men's testosterone is 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. Women, it's 15 to 70. So men want sex 10 times more than women. So if you say wait till marriage for sex, this puts the man at the disadvantage because he wants it 10 times more. It's like a man, like let's say a guy needs food. It's like a guy that's starving. It's like you put food in front of a guy that's starving versus a fat guy. The fat guy can live off of his blubber for like 3 months. But the guy that's starving is going to be like, give it to me. I'll do whatever. Just give me the food. And on top of that, the women that Lee says only 19 times a day, Elliot in the chat on the website. Don't be cheap. Go to the website. It's okay. You guys can't be. I'm not the best salesperson. Anyways, Elliot, 19 times a day, that's a lot. So I guess there's disagreements. I don't know. So now what did they do before? Now, what was the solution to this diabolical sex drive that both men and women, we want to be like, we have these urges from very young. I'm not going to say the first time that I had but I think we can all say it's younger than we all want to admit. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Rondolfo says, Jesse Lee Peters says women can't admit men are right until men are on their deathbed. Podcasts are going to be interesting in 25 years. That's true. I don't know how I came to this conclusion. I think it's because I got treated like a man. I'm still a woman. I'd still be skeptical of me. It's fine. Anyways, arranged marriages was what the case used to be. So first off, families used to know each other. And what would happen is they'd say, the two families would be near each other and they'd say, let's set our kids up. Sometimes if there was an older guy like nearby and he like peeped, he said, oh, that daughter, she's got a nice piece of ass. Or she's cute. She looks like she was raised right. Hey, Dad, can I marry her? And the dad would be like, what are your intentions? And they would go back and forth and he'd be like, all right, he's a nice guy. Sure, you can have her. And the kids waited till marriage because, again, they were getting married at like 16 years old. So the average age of first sexual experience in the U.S. is 16. Or maybe they would fool around before, but they just, it would be private. They would do the soaking or whatever the hell. And they just wouldn't tell anyone and they'd get married after. That's why we had shotgun weddings, right? The dad would say, all right, you're pregnant. That's fine. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal that they had sex outside of marriage because they just got married. They had the kid and they just lived. The problem wasn't the sex outside of marriage. The problem is the women leaving and we keep thinking we can do better, right? That's the problem because when you give us ladies a bunch of choice, it's always the same thing. We go for the top men. We go for 10% of men. That's the real problem, right? It's not like this. I mean, what's the difference if they hook up before the wedding and they get married anyway? And the dad was also a buffer because he could say, if a guy came to him and said, I want to take care of your daughter. He's like, no, this guy's no good. He's going to smash. Women cannot, we have no discernment in who is smashing and, going to just pass versus who's going to stick around. None. I mean, that's what, women are like, they'll say their egregious body counts and it's like all the same guys. Like if you go on a panel, I would venture to guess if you took a panel of 10 women on whatever, 2 have had sex with the same guys if they live in the same city. Yeah, this is arranged marriages. This is what I'm describing. Now, there would be a dowry involved, but the thing was, men knew that in the past that women were not good with money. it's no coincidence that women, like pandering to women pays. If you lie, women buy. And so the men didn't think it was a good idea for women to like have the inheritance or have the money. So what they would do is they would pass the money onto the son and say, look, she is a liability. All women, they view it as liability. I mean, you guys still do, right? But you can't say it anymore. You can't say it. So now they would say, here's the money. Here you go. Here you go, daughter's husband. Now the husband is a son to the dad. The equivalent of this would be like several $1,000s in today's earnings, and a bride price, which is like $300. And if the women said no, the dad would say, like, this was seen as a insult to the dad. Now, I'm sure there were some dads that were a little bit, nicer and said, okay, we'll try the next one. But at some point, the dad is going to say, okay, you are just too picky. You are not listening. Because again, it was patriarchal before. So the men decided, not the women. But when you give women choice, that means the women decide. And how are we with decisions? And so what he would do is say, if he had multiple kids, which they had like 7 back then, he would say, okay, your sister gets the inheritance. And you know how competitive women are with our sisters. We're like, oh, I'm not doing that. Or if the woman wanted to do it, she really couldn't make money as much. Like there would be a consequence. Like if she wanted, she might have a scarlet letter. She'd have to work super hard to get the next guy to marry her because now he knows she's not going to listen. She didn't listen to her dad. Doubt she'll listen to me. But hey, I'm sure some women went out and found the guy. Or, she would die because she's not under her dad's protection anymore. So most women did it. That's why women got married. In the modern day, now in the modern day, really, and I was just disagreeing with someone before the show. They think that no one will marry these women. I've seen too much. Someone will always do it. There's always a simp. Always, always, always. I mean, they might not marry, but they'll at least get a long-term girlfriend for it'll be basically like, I consider if a couple lives together over a certain amount of time, like you're married basically. I mean, there might not be a certificate. You might not have the last name. There's always. Anyways. Now, there's pros to this. Women are forced to make a responsible decision. There's no single mothers. There's not all this crazy stuff going on. The con, women may not really want to be there and resent the guy. I think that's why they fought so hard for this feminism stuff was because, they wanted the choice. Now we have the choice. It's not going too well. I mean, that's like, the downside. And I don't tell you guys what to do, but I'm just saying, so if the church cared about purity, they would go back to this model. Because, again, sex is a need. Sex is a need. But what they want to say is, hey, enter the modern dating market. Now, this is the modern dating market. So couples nowadays meet on dating apps through social settings or social media. Sometimes work, but it's mostly dating apps or social media. Usually they're going to sleep together pretty much immediately within 3 dates tops. Generally speaking, unless you're a super simp and some girl bamboozled you into waiting months. I'm sorry to inform you fellas, you took an L. Unless she was like 20, she's giving it up to somebody else immediately or close to it. Have sex casually for a couple months to 2 years. And Some guys, it's like 3. I've had I asked my male friends. Some of them will have sex for like 3 months casually before, like, to vet her, see if she's worth making a girlfriend. I've heard up to 2 years. We're getting pretty bad. They're like, these women, I got to make sure she's not in any SSRIs, no anger issues. And these women can be chameleons for damn near forever. They keep increasing this time. The average number of years to date before you get a ring is 3. I'm not sure if they include situationships, but that's the average. Then you get married and divorced after 3 years, or after not 3 years, 7 years. Then you repeat. So the total time of this life cycle can be 3 years to a decade. The more cautious men draw it out longer. The less cautious men make it shorter. So the benefit of not giving women what they want in the modern dating market, so no ring, is you get to see if the woman's there for you, or is she there for, like, the wedding? Because the wedding is like our currency, right? We get the high off of the wedding, we get the high off of the husband, we get the high off of the baby, we get all this attention on us. It's like women that don't get this stuff. That's why they say girlfriends are better than wives. I have met so many men, like, it's ridiculous, that dated a girl for 10 years, married her, and they got divorced in a year. I'm like, what are we doing, women? It's like we wanted to see if we could get him, and then once we got him, they're like, next. Okay, so next is the wait until marriage in the modern dating market. Now, this is mostly for simps and suckers. I hate to break it to you guys, but you are getting bamboozled. And the women, they're really taking you for a ride. I know you think your wife is special and different, but unless you met that bitch in high school, she's not. You don't know what she was doing. She could have been getting tag teamed the year before she met you. You don't know. And if your answer is, I know my wife is special and different because I take women's word for it, I know you're a mark. Sorry, fellas. Maybe if you've known her since she was young, but again, like older men that have been dating these young broads, one of the reasons they say they're able to get the young broads is because the young broads can get casual sex outside of their social circle. So, they can go, if you go hook up with a 50-year-old, nobody in your friend group is going to find out. You don't have the reputation of a whore. And, men have said this in different races too, that the women will go try that. They don't want anyone to find out. They date a guy in a different, like, racial social circle. Because, races, like, tend to segregate a little bit just naturally. You're getting bamboozled. Christian simps. This is your red pill. There is no guarantee that your woman was not a whore before she met you. You might as well just assume. Okay, but this is the life cycle. What they're going to do is meet her on a dating app generally, maybe through social circle, school, generally not, more likely a dating app. Give the woman the benefit of the doubt that she has given 0 blowjobs, no anal, or found some other workaround at the age of 27, despite having sexual desires at least 16. Remember, the average age people are losing their virginity is 16. If a woman's 26 and she hasn't had sex, something's off. Something is wrong with her. I'm just being honest. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. She's automatically, she automatically, because of testosterone difference, he wants sex 10 times more. So he's willing to basically bend to her will, basically worship her. She also says no porn or masturbating for him. That's why you get these trad women saying, porn's evil, porn's evil. Let the man look at some tits in peace. Do you know what I mean? It's like, God damn, what, do you want him cheating? Do you want him to go find the real thing? Metal Grack says she was 32. Idiot. That's your own fault. Some of you guys, you sign up for destruction. You really do. God, you believe anything. Lee says you can always tell if she has anal, it shows. What does that mean? Wait, I want you to detail. It's like women will be virgins. You're going to be a virgin with AIDS. Like, what do you, that's how you get it, Get AIDS or gonorrhea. It's like, you're going to get something doing that stuff. Let's see. What is needed is a new arranged and matched marriage based on the reality that women are romantics and men are romance seekers. I'll answer the copier question later. Yeah, Lee, porn can serve a purpose. And what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, men that watch porn are more likely to get divorced. But the study they won't do, I'll tell you the study they won't do. How much do those men that are watching porn, how much do their wives weigh and how much are they putting out? I've never seen that study. I've never seen trad women say, women, please fuck your husbands. Dear God. Christian men are the ones on OnlyFans, and it's because the women have been taught to weaponize sex from before the wedding. Okay. And if he does watch porn or masturbate, she'll say he's not godly enough and call it off. Also, the pastor gets to interpret the Bible for you, and your wife gets to manipulate him into interpreting it her way. So what she'll do is you now have to submit to another man, and he gets to tell you how to treat your wife in your house. Yeah, so now, and she gets to go complain to him when you're not behaving the way that she wants. Then wait till marriage and hope she puts out after, even though she didn't put out before. So you just pray that she has a good sex drive. Rondolfo says the secret is to find the one that was big in high school that then got fit. Yeah, and pray she doesn't go back. Good luck. Now, we got to ask some questions. This is why the church leaves men to destruction. What can men do if their wife is not having sex with him? Really, his only choices are to remove attention, watch porn instead of having sex, remove money, unless she takes him to court, then he's out of luck. And I forgot to add this, remove attention and time. I forgot to add cheat. That's another option. Cheat or flirt with other women in front of her to show that, look, bitch, I can get another you. We don't really treat you right if we don't think you can get another one of us. I don't like this. I'm just saying this is what it is. What can a woman do if she does not get her way? Cheat, put on alimony or child support, decide who is born. She can abort your kid, ruin his reputation because we have this believe all women. Dang, I forgot one. And also nag. There's a million. Just nag you endlessly for an eternity. Call you an abuser. She's got the state behind her. She's got the community behind her. You're on your own as a man. The only power that you have as a man is removing your time and attention. And one of the ways you can remove the sexual need is cheating and porn. And the church crucifies men for doing both. Dane says, Pearl, no, she doesn't manipulate the pastor. The pastor preaches feminine gospel to attract women and tithes and give them a safe haven for their husbands. He becomes the stunt husband double. When a bitch doesn't let me bang on the first date, adios, motherfucker. That's from Fazal. Yeah. Okay. Now, I want to talk about some points that the church ruins sex for. Again, the church demonizes sex before marriage, but they don't acknowledge sex as a need, and they don't give you options to take care of it. For men and for women, right? are the 18-year-old guys, I mean, they're trying to go bang some hoes. They don't say, hey, like, go date those 30-year-old men while the 20-year-old men bang hoes and we'll arrange this marriage, right? Again, sex is like food. People need food, and eating disorders come from mothers that give their daughters a toxic view of it. 70% of American men and 40% of women view online porn. Talked about that earlier. Purity does not mean you are virtuous. Some men would pick a whore than be with a virgin who weaponizes sex against them. I mean, think about it. Would you take a whore who gives you enthusiastic sex on demand, or a stuck-up bitch that gives you sex once a month? Who are you picking? Right? Who are you picking? I mean, I'm not saying they're all going to pick the whore, right? But I'm saying there's a good percentage of men that will. That's how these porn stars get married, is because at least Riley Reid paid attention to what men like in bed. She paid attention to what men like the women to look like. And she cared about what men like, where, you know, it's super obvious in the church, the women are very masculine. They're not very feminine in general. And it's because they think that virginity is an outlier for virtue. Okay. Whores, okay, many women want to be worshipped for being a virgin. So now you see these women popping up online that, you know, they use virginity as part of their brand, and they do this as a marketing tool to be worshipped by a lot of men. In all honesty, it's really a private thing, right? It's really a private thing between you and your husband. You know, it's kind of a gift for your husband and him to know. And you're sharing it as like with everybody. Which kind of speaks to a lot of conservative women. They're more worried about their reputation than they are about their children and their husband. And it's why you see them use their kids and husband for like virtue points. Like they use them for their social media following. They use them to brag to their friends. They use it as part of their brand, right? Churches tell people to feel shame about their natural sex drives. Abstinence is seen as the only way to many conservatives, and they talk about it like it's easy in this sexualized culture. It's hard to even have a social life as a young, attractive woman without participating in some type of sexual activity, especially in college. Many traditional conservative mothers care more about their reputation than their family, so they try to control their children so they don't make them look bad. The lack of sex is more about the mother not looking bad, and so she can brag to her friends. It's not necessarily about the child and the child's best interests. You can see this with Bernadine Bluntly. Let me show you. I'm going to see Bernadine Bluntly birth. I want to see. Yeah, like, look at this shit. You got to be kidding me. Like, does this picture need to be shared with the world? And what the TradCon women are doing is they keep saying, I'm jealous, I'm jealous, I'm jealous. And I'm like, lady, I'm not jealous of somebody that's posting their most like intimate moments on the internet. And I got to find it. There was like a video. Maybe she deleted it. God help, Lord help us. Media. And it was like of this woman screaming while giving birth. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And they use their kids like for clout, right? And you see this, look at birth. It's like all these people, like, and I understand the intention, maybe they're excited about it, but you know, at some point you're kind of violating your kids' privacy. And you see this where like they have parenting channels telling all the intimate stories in their life. Yeah. And it's just like a worship fest. I wish I could find this video. God, it was so funny. I had it on a different live stream. Maybe they removed it. But it's like of her. She's like screaming. She's like, ah, ah. Like of her giving birth. And it's almost like sexualized. I'm like, what the F is wrong with you? There's pedos on the internet. What is wrong with you ladies? Anyways, So what they do is they use their virginity as like a marketing ploy and to be worshipped. And you can see this because they don't put their money where their mouth is generally. Like it's like if they get married, they use their family for clout. Or they use or they use it as a marketing ploy and wait till they're 30-ish to get married. And I'm not saying one's right or, well, I am saying the kids on the internet's wrong, but I'm not saying modern dating or traditional dating. It's you guys as kids. You do what you want with them. But you're kind of like, if you want your kid to wait till they're married, right? If you want your daughter to wait and you're not giving her an arranged marriage in some way, I mean, we could even meet a middle ground and give her like 5 men that you went out and found that you believe are like they're marriageable. You know, they're good guys. They come from good families. And you say, hey, and they're willing, right? Or there could be a middle ground, but all I'm saying is like, right now, the way you're doing it, the way that the church people are doing it, it's setting the kids up for failure. And you're having them associate a normal instinct with shame. And I know I've said things like bring back shame. And the way I mean that is not shame around sex in itself. It's around, I don't know, sleeping with 1,000 men in a day. That's pretty bad. Right? I mean, that's like, we're to the point that's not even shamed. But the church, it's like they're just, the only advice they give isn't how to be like a better wife, how to be an asset to a guy. It's just don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex. It's you are special and amazing, and you have this amazing gift to give somebody. And it's so gynocentric because really the gift is him putting up with you. As women, we're annoying. Like, there's no woman, even the best women on earth are annoying. And you guys know this inherently. So, that's a more honest conversation. The gift isn't giving him your virginity. It's him putting up with you for a lifetime and dying for you. I mean, and this is the thing players go through, is they have sex with a virgin and realize it's really not all it's cracked up to be. Anyways, these women will defend corn stars, but refuse to call out women who don't have sex with their husband. And they can't help themselves from believing women at their actions, where women who withhold, they cannot help but believing women at their word, where men who withhold their sexual urges are told to toughen up, they said. And I've seen Candace Owens do this, right? She says, porn is so evil, but okay, Candace, did you wait? Did you marry young? I didn't. If we're going to demonize porn, then you demonize marrying past the age. I think even after 21. I mean, again, the sex drive starts at like 15, 16 years old. It's like 15 and a half average age people lose their virginity or do some sort of sexual something. So if you're pushing that off like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, that's 6 years. Somebody's doing it. Do you know what I mean? And the dads hate this conversation. They don't like to think about it. That's your baby. I get it. But, and I don't think they mean to, right? Because they want their daughter to be responsible. They want her to make choices. Like men don't want people to resent them for like making a choice for them. And I totally get that. And you could even find a middle ground, right? But anyways, all I'm saying is the way we're doing it now, you're sending women to college, to major cities. These are where the players are, okay? This is like get pumped and dumped central. Anyways, Lee says the whore. Yeah, they're all saying the whore. Okay. If conservative parents, I said this already. Some of these I go off script and then I got to remember what I said. So what happens to a lot of these church people, and I've met old virgin women, okay, and I've met them. And what happens with them is there's a couple of things. One, they kind of lie about their virginity. They don't count blowjobs. They don't count getting ahead. They get completely naked and then say, don't have sex with me, right? They do the fingering. They do the hand jobs. They do fucking anal at this point. It's like, Jesus. I don't know at what point, and you guys got to put in the chat, at what point is oral worse than the bodies? Like, how many men does she have to blow until it's worth a body and the purity doesn't matter anymore? And so, a lot of people end up really socially awkward and stunted. They don't have natural, relationships with sex. And it's just like a lot of these guys and girls are really messed up from this. Again, if conservative parents wanted what was best for their kids, they would arrange a marriage. But generally, it's just the mother wanting control over the kid's sex drives. Traditional conservative women are taught from a young age to weaponize sex. And you see this again with the women, they'll say, don't give him wife treatment for girlfriend benefits. And she's saying, do it my way or I won't obey you. I only obey when I get what I want. That's what she's saying. If most women treated the men that they had sex with like they were bonded for life, a lot would, I'm not saying they would all marry him. Some would get pumped and dumped. But I've seen women in school, there's this woman. She was in a situationship for 3 years, and I thought to God he would never date her. But men are better people. They're like, fine, you know what? I went for the 8s. They all said no. I went for the 7s. They treat me like shit. I'll take you 5.5. They're pragmatic. They're like, all right, get on the treadmill. Let's do it. Many traditional conservative families have beta fathers who are really not the head of their household. Beta, and I want to credit Fort Worth Playboy for this quote because I thought it was really interesting. Beta fathers are the backbone of this country. Beta dads work the shit job, keep the fat wife, buy the suburban house, raise the kids, and do the best they can. Grinding through thankless shit. If it was nothing but players, playboys, and PUAs, this whole thing would grind to a halt. There would be single mothers everywhere. So the reason why traditional conservatives shame the male sex drive is because if men started being selfish and doing what was best for themselves, society would crumble and the future would be effed for their children. Somebody's got to be the cleanup man, and they want it to be you. This is why conservative pundits shame men that have power and can use the sexual market to their own benefit. Conservative pundits preach traditional values, but want men to remain weak and able to be controlled by traditional conservative women. Conservatives cannot let women fail. They let the homeless men fail. They let losers fail. But they refuse to let women deal with the consequences. So before, if women said, I want to date for love, I want to have this romantic love, I don't want to do the arranged thing, they said, okay, have fun, chica, pay for it. I'm not helping you out. I'm not bailing you out of shit. You're your own responsibility. You want to make your own decisions, go do it. But society just can't let women fail. Again, women have reproductive power. They have the power of false accusations, family court, and just society believing them. Where men, really, the only power they have is sleeping with other women, cheating, flirting with other women, porn, and they will demonize men for doing these things, even though it's the only way they have power nowhere else. And removing attention and their sperm, right? You can get like a vasectomy or wear condoms. And take away your resources, but like the court can mess that one up for you. Conservative women are generally a 5 to 6 range of attractiveness. They're not attractive to monetize their beauty in other industries. They use purity as a way to virtue signal instead of letting their character speak for itself. They become traditional when they become 5s, when they're 6s and higher. Women start aging and they can't get what they want out of men. Oh, sorry. When women start aging, and I have to quote my boyfriend because this was his quote. Nuclear Caudillo, if you want to Google his channel. But when women start aging, they do not get what they want out of men. And in their life, they become politically and morally active. An example is Nala or Eva Lovia. But even with all of that, the women can't help being hoes. They pivot to another community where there's sexless men. So generally, that's going to be like anime, some community that has a lot of sexless men. Most women try red pill, but they can't. I can take the heat. They can't. I mean, I've been called a whore a million times. And I just take it. They say, Rolo's denounced me now. He's done like streams spurging out on me. I say, all right. I like it here. I'm staying. Sorry. Conservative women do not think their kids have a right to privacy and they need to know what they're doing sexually. So this is when you get the if it's a conservative dad, he'll be like, look, do what you want, but if you do it in my house, I'm going to kill you. If you do, I can't stop you at school. I don't have the time to monitor this. If you want to go be whores or a man whore, if you do this in my house, I will literally kill you. But outside of that, I don't care. The women will like go through the kids' phones and like micromanage everything. Like they don't think the kid has a right to privacy at all. Yeah, Better Bachelor took a dump on me. Yeah, did he do it again? It's unfortunate. It's like I'll be fans of guys, but you gotta have some tough skin. Better Bachelor, Pearl. Yeah, he's just not my biggest fan. It's okay. I understand it. I mean, and there's some stuff in my life I regret. So I am an old woman. So, I get it. It's all right. Maybe one of these days I'll give you guys the my perspective on the Rolo beef. I haven't said it for years because I love his work. He's such a great author. And I really wanted him to mentor me when I first got in the space, but he denied my friendship. I don't want to think about it. It's okay. Okay. I get it. I could be a better person. So, it just is what it is. So church women tend to use their religion for clout and virtue signaling. They post pictures praying. They use crosses and Bible verses in their shows. They simply think not having sex makes them virtuous, even though we can't confirm that. And they will defend OF whores. Example of traditional conservative women. You got Mary from Timcast. She's like 23 and unmarried. And she uses her virginity as a way to like virtue signal and the Catholicism. I can't verify that. It might be true. Can't verify. Lila Rose is another one. She's been shaming men for porn. She tells women, don't give wife benefits. She just got caught embezzling a bunch of abortion and pro-life money. Did you want me to forget that bitch? Yeah. Candace Owens. She has, let me look up Candace Owens porn. I mean, really, if you want to see, Candace Owens porn. Do they delete it? They always delete this stuff. I gotta find it. But she had this whole tirade on how porn is evil and da 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 da. And then I was like, hey, like, what are the young men supposed to do? The sex drive is real. And what they'll do is they'll say, no, it's not. No, it's not. Men don't need sex. I'm like, are you married? Like, are you guys like when women say stuff like that, I'm like, are you married? Like, how are you married and you think this? I mean, I'm just like confused. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just nature. Like, a man's dream is to be like Leonardo DiCaprio, to have sex with a bunch of 18-year-olds for life. And they can't say it because nowadays, like, they don't want to come off as creepy. And now women call everyone pedophile. They even call me a pedophile. So, which I'm not, obvious. I hate that I even have to say that. Like, obviously not, but the men can't, so they're like, haha, we like 22-year-olds. And then women are like, well, 22-year-old, now you're a pedo. And then they're like, okay, we like 25-year-olds. And then the ladies are like, well, 25, your brain's not developed till 25. I'm like, oh my fucking God. My grandma had like 4 children by the time she was 18. Like, God. Anyways, so, and I'm like, they're like, they're evil. They're like, they just can't control themselves if they look at some tits. I'm like, I prefer he does that. Do you want him to go cheat? Like, okay, these are your choices. He's gonna, because, men always get tired of sleeping with you. I hear it's after 2 years, which is really unfortunate. They just do, like, they can love you, but they do at some point. You just cannot, like, they would it's so sad. It's like they desire an overweight 5 more than you. It's like it's the worst thing as a woman. There's nothing you could do. You could be a 10 and he's going to wonder what that Gluck Gluck 5,000 is of a 5. He just is. It's just so sad. And it's like my worst. I don't even like this right now. They said grandma was getting railed. She had like 9 kids. And you know what? On her deathbed, she said her only regret was not having more. And I'm like, Grandma, how many more did you want? She's like, 12. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, so, the men, like, these are your options. He can go to porn to get that variety. He can think of his exes to get that. I know you guys do it. I know everything. I'm so in the weeds on this topic. I know everything. He can go think of his exes or like previous experiences or maybe even sex tapes he made. I know you guys have a hard drive. I know you guys do. I know you guys have a picture hard. I know you have it. You might be in the group chat if he doesn't care about you, ladies. Your nudes might be in a group chat. They might. Or number 3. And by the way, let's not pretend we're not putting shit in our group chat. So I don't want to hear anything about virtue signaling. I mean, women will compare that, like, it's so much worse. The men will just be like, look, she's hot, I hit. The women will go through like positions and like, anyway, so, so it's porn, cheat, or think of his exes. Am I missing anything? Or maybe like women he wish he could have sex with. Like, I don't know, that woman at work. Maybe that girl on Instagram he has a crush on. He can like do that. There's so many choices. Don't say me. That's disgusting. Stop it. Can you let me just have, ew. Okay. I know that happens, but I don't like to think about it. All right. I don't like to think about it and just let me live. Dear God. Okay. And I'm not going to say, I just did it. I said, that's disgusting. I shamed the male sex drive. See, it's like our DNA. It's like our DNA. I can't, God, I'm caught lacking, dang, whatever. You got Brett Cooper's another one. I say this because I know them. And Brett Cooper, you can see the difference because she does shame men less, right? But she went to a big school. She lived in LA. She was emancipated from when she was 15. She's done something. I don't know what she's done before. but it's something, right? Like, we can admit it's, and I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna like pry, but so for her to like go after Fresh and like, shame him for sleeping with a hooker, which I mean, he was dating her. He didn't really know she was a hooker, but baddies, am I right? These are you date a baddie, you get baddie problems. Um, it's like hypocritical because were you a virgin? No. So I decided to make a list of things that are more important than virginity. And I want you guys to add your thoughts. And I'm going to read the chat in a second. One is coachability. If a woman listens to your direction, that's way more important than virginity. Way more important. Okay, now oh God, there's so many thoughts on this topic. I think I've hit a nerve. Are you guys relating to this topic? Who's thinking of their mom? No, I can't do it. I can't do it. She'll kill me. Okay, this is pretty much okay. The economic success of modern women is an illusion. It's coming to an end as we speak. The coming depression will change dynamics for women. They will once again need men. It's going to be sex work. I'm way too black-pilled for you guys. Women want to be sex workers over, women when giving choice are always going to go for a guy out of their league with muscles, right? That's like the female dream. So given the choice, they'll just be like, they'll do it for pay. And still sleep with the guys they like for free. That's just what they'll do. If they allowed polygamy, maybe guys like that might marry them. Yeah, I forgot that is an option. You could do polygamy where the guys get multiple. Fazelle, when home-cooked meals don't fully satisfy men, they seek alternatives outside. Okay. Lee says, what is needed is I read that. Okay. Lee, romance seekers, women live for attention. You can always tell if she... Okay. Back to the anal conversation. Daniel says, had a girlfriend who loved right next to the L while L said... And then while the L sound just vanished. Ronaldolfo, the secret is to find the one... Okay, wait. I'm so sorry, guys. I read some of these already. Pearl, I had a BA in theology. I'm ordained and licensed in ministry. I served in ministry for years. My conflicts in church were always because I'm not a white knight or a simp. Rodolfo, my name's Pearl, LOL. We know who. Name's Pearl, we know who. I thought she was cool, but she turned loopy. Man, Twitter is going to be wild tomorrow. Pearl, we repeat Adam's mistake over and over by listening to women instead of God. It's up to women to tell bitches to shut the F up. Shame has a place in society. Preachers and have influence and power. That's the combination that attracts. Pearl, men could have told women to shut the F up, but they gave up that power a long time ago. Yes, a real sex is a gift for your partner. Okay. Let her blow the whole football team. I don't care. You guys are picking them. Did you guys see Lily Phillips' dead eyes when Russell Brand was speaking to her? Strong fathers, romantics, all can change these dynamics. No, they can't. You have no control if your daughter goes to be a whore. Remember, there's millions of dollars invested into making your daughter a whore and single mother. If I were you guys, I would just give up and hope she doesn't. Give her a couple options as a husband if you can. But she's 18. She gets to make her own decisions. If you want to enforce it, you can tie your inheritance to it. If you have any, I mean, it's most likely that your ex-wife stole it, but hey, maybe you do. That's really the only leverage you're going to have. The will. Lee, it's all sex. Only Clinton sees it differently. Blowjobs are sex. Pearl, you mean the whorehouse of higher education, and it's mostly a waste of good money. I'll take a kind, faithful day any day. Any day. Steve says within a decade, robots will be commonplace with increased AI that will cook. Rodolfo, really? Rolo, what a bitch attitude. Look, I just can't help being a fan even though he hates me. Do you know what that's like? He's like, I hate Pearl. She's a terrible person. And I'm like, really, Rolo? Because I love you, like in a normal way. I'm a fan. It is what it is. Pearl, such is the life of the truth seeker. When you find it, no one really wants to listen, but you can't stop. Daniel says, I know why Rolo says that you have 2 million subs. Pearl, you are not old. How dare you? Well, I'm kind of old. You guys could date the hotter 22 year. I'm aged out. Yup. Rolo, yeah, I mean, look, he has his, I will give you the Rolo lure one day, but I need more yearly memberships because then he's going to do like 10 streams reacting to him hating me. And I don't need that in my life, but I will do it for money. He's like, Pearl's only in it for money. And I'm like, I mean, we got to eat, don't we? I mean, a little bit. I'm making damn near nothing now. But Pearl, not true about conservative fathers. And I've watched my peers. Conservative dad is monitoring the whoring daughters. Mom is making excuses to live through their daughters. Okay. Why is there the Catholic schoolgirl and pastor's daughter? Reputation. Why is that a phrase? What are you guys thinking of when I said that? Pastor's daughter. Rolo digs at Pearl just why high school, he's immature in some ways. Pearl, tell the story of why Rolo was beefing with us. Well, it goes back so many years. I just don't want to get the timeline wrong. But I'm done. I have not defended myself in years. And I really think it's been the wrong decision for my career. The advice I was given is just to go higher and ignore. And some of them I do ignore, but like they get these waves of shit. Like, God, he started a whole rumor about me that I worked for the Daily Wire. He also started a rumor about, what was the other one? He started one more. Like Jeremy Boring had to come out and say she doesn't work for us. Like, there's one more. Like, Pearl was sent to take down the red. But there's one more. I don't even remember what it was. I don't care anymore. I'm like, you are nuts. But I still love you. He's like that grandpa. Do you know what I mean? He's like that grandpa at dinner that's like going crazy and talking about, like, I don't know, whatever. But you still kind of love him. You're like, you're kind of nutty, but I still love you in a normal way. He's like, you're autistic and fat. And I'm like, what? Are you good looking, Rolo? Like, get the fuck out of my face. I could be thinner. I could be less awkward. Do you know what I mean? But like, I can carry it. I can have a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a bit quirky, but have you met real autistic people? Do you know what I mean? Like, dear God, I could be better, but fuck. I'm like, you're kind of quirky too. We're in this space. Everybody's a little nerdy here. Okay, perfect show for me to call in. Conservative dad, raised 5 kids in South Alabama and South Mississippi. The Bible Belt, I've lived it. There's a lot of chats, and I'm reading all of them, guys. Please like the video. I know it decreases engagement, but you guys paid for this chat. I'm giving you this chat. But I really would ask that in the future you put Pearl Reed in front of them because some of these don't make sense and I don't think you want me to read it. Most nights when the wife doesn't want to have sex with the man, makes a late night visit to the bathroom for years. Paul, Candace Owens is an evil bitch. She should stay with politics. I just want an apology for her to Crowder. You did call him a fucking abuser, okay? That's pretty serious. I just want an apology, at least a retraction. Take the video down. I'm pretty sure the Daily Wire deleted it. But guess what, bitches? I didn't forget. I will nag you into eternity. Till you give him an apology. I'm Team Steven Crowder. Even if he's a bit of a super simp. He didn't deserve abuser. He deserved a super simp insult. That's what he deserved. He deserved to be called a simp, not an abuser. Pearl, women's sex drive is a man's time and manhood. They could light a cig after that. Better than sex for them. Fazelle, I'm not a religious person. However, the best prayer I indulge is from the bitches. For my morning prayer is their lips around my mushroom What, Fazelle, why did you make me read? I'm going to read it. You guys are in the chat. I'm reading it. But god damn. Dane, Rollo is a disgruntled old man who failed at long-term relationship. He's been married like 30 years. He's failed at saddlebacking a woman, so he's pissed. You represent every other woman in his life who has reminded him. No, I just think I'm less like smart than him. I think he takes a lot of ego in being like an intelligent guy. He's kind of like a know-it-all. And it makes him less likable, right? Like people like him less because he's like, I'm super smart, I know everything. And he kind of does, right? And it's kind of annoying when this like redheaded ginger, he thinks I'm fat. I guess I'm a fatty. And, gets all these followers and it's kind of annoying. I get it. I could be better. The 25-year-old female saying she's still a child is tarded. Glenn says, nah, Pearl. We don't want 18-year-olds. We want 18 or 22 to 32-year-old. They need to know how to cook and they can't have a gag reflex. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for that. Marriage used to be a matter of survival, but now it's a matter of social media they tell women they have more options and that they're 10s. I have a hard drive, 2 full hard drives full of home videos. Don't tempt me. You could keep that to yourself, Glenn. You really could. You don't have to confirm. I already know. Almost every guy uses some form of porn. Dane, Andrew Wilson is the only man in the genre I respect as much as a grown-ass man be and not just a disgruntled old dude. Well, I like Andrew, but he kind of does the same thing. Man up and marry these hoes, Andrew and Rachel are a great couple. Yes, they are. They're a phenomenal couple. And Rachel is a great example of what I was talking about. He could have got a younger, hotter woman with no kids, but he chose Rachel. Why did he choose Rachel? Because she listened. God, he put up with other men's children in order to have a woman that listened. That's how bad it is out there, fellas. Glenn, watch his own porn that he made with his exes that he ended up cheating on with. One of the other girls in another homemade porn that he made. Porn is an awesome tool. Like I taught my daughters, purity is a lot more than a hymen. It's a mindset. Virginity is important, but if you're abstaining, but you really wish you could, then you're not really that pure. Glenn, every mid I know has a higher body count than everyone was above an 8. Oh my gosh, you guys have a lot today. I guess we're getting a lot of memberships. This is good. Polygamy only works in patriarchal society. That's the mess we have now. Pearl, if the virgin is sexless but otherwise indulging in worldliness, that's not purity. Purity is not nailing your foot to the floor so you don't do the horizontal hustle. It's a voluntary mindset. Yeah, so part of purity is like not getting sexual attention from men. Not, dressing like a hoe, not making sexual faces. Dane, if the virgin is sexless but otherwise living in worldliness, doing like a fast life, purity is not nailing your, okay, wait, I read that. Feminism has ruined all Western women, especially in South Korea. Pearl, the never had sex woman who is living out otherwise filthy life, not pure. Pearl is absolutely right on sex being a need. Increasingly, while the churches disagree with this, they are at odds with the Bible. Read 1 Corinthians. Dane, the gospel Russell Brand was preaching to her isn't biblical. It's the feminine gospel. You're awesome. The Bible is you suck, but Jesus came to make you not suck. Only a catastrophic event would take out the entire modern infrastructure, including a world wide web that would send us back to the Stone Age and end feminism overnight. Pearl, you're white knighting for that grumpy old man Rollo. I'm still a fan. Okay, look. I recently met another guy he doesn't like either. where neither of us, we didn't mean to accidentally make him hate us, but he's a hating guy. He's a hater. I don't know. It's funny to watch Rollo in his wife bear t-shirt. Something's off with him. This is why I subscribe to you. You tell the black pill truth. Rollo digs at you, Pearl, but he knows he can't have you. Think high school. Look, I don't care why he does it. I'm staying. I told him, like I said, I'm not going anywhere. And then he's like, Pearl, she'll be out of here. I'm still here. Then he's like, she just couldn't go anywhere else. Really? Do you think conservative female media is that competitive? I'm the most entertaining one in the space. I really am. I mean, I can write simp songs off the dome. Okay, pastor's daughters because dad's neglecting his family over the church. One of the most attractive qualities of the woman is not shaming male sexuality. Part of why they do it is because they deny the power of the naked image to men. He's the crazy old uncle that everyone tells their girlfriends to stay away from. He's like the guy that wears tinfoil hats to keep the CIA from reading his thoughts. I get it. He said a lot of people come for him. Okay. Oh my gosh. This is the most, I'm happy we have this many people in the chat, but God, that was a long one. Jonathan says bougie. Yeah, like bad and bougie. Okay. All right, Pearl, you're working hard. You're not siding on truth. Rollo should support you. Trying to torpedo you over his feelings is very womanly. Look. I'm still a fan. I can't help it. I can't help it. Or I just can't. Okay, limited to one chat per day. Well, what I need to do is I'm not going to read them anymore. This is my new rule. You got to put Pearl read. You got to put Pearl read because 7th. We're at 2 hours in and I'm not even through my monologue. I didn't even get to the videos yet. Okay, so let's look at some examples. And I want to put, can you make a poll in the chat? How many blowjobs does a woman have to give before you don't consider her a virgin anymore? I want to put, I don't know how many options we have, but I want to put 1, 3, and then put 6+. Does this change? I want you guys' thoughts in the chat. Does this change if she's only getting, like if she's getting oral, but she's not giving it? You know what I mean? When does the virginity like go? Like, come on, we have to say anal counts. Like, I know you can't get pregnant from it, but like you can literally get AIDS. Yeah, how many blowjobs till a woman's not a virgin anymore? I want to put the options as 1, 3, 6+. What are my long-term goals with the Audacity Network? I'll do that at the end of the show. I'll make a note. The way this is going, I might have to get a snack. I'm starving. I might have to hold on. The Audacity Network. Okay, we're going to start with some videos about purity culture because I am going to take some call-ins, so this is going to go a while. I'm not going to read this article. I'm going to go to the videos. The audio
pregnancy scare when I was 17.
Here we go.
Christian household. Growing up in a Christian household, you do not have sex, you stay abstinent. I had a pregnancy scare when I was 17. Mm-hmm. I was not pregnant, but I thought I was. And instead of telling my parents, I was like, no, it's probably better to just kill myself. Which I talk about that and I say it out loud because I know so many young women that go through the same thing.
That is incredible. I mean, it's ideally in a perfect world, a pregnancy is a happy moment.
Right.
But sometimes things aren't planned. Sometimes there's surprises. And I think it's very unreasonable for a person to say, just don't have sex. We are human beings. It's literally in our DNA to be attracted to each other and to form bonds with each other. and to express love with each other.
And, you know, the answer to this, what it should be in a conservative household is, okay, you might be pregnant. It's not the end of the world. Let's get married. That's it. Problem solved. Lady, just don't leave. That's it. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. You're an adult. Sex feels good, you know. Go get married. Okay, let me keep going.
And to simply put up a wall and say, we don't acknowledge this, we don't talk about it, it's dark, it's sinful and shameful.
Yeah.
Can you tell we had a similar background?
Oh, yeah.
It's not healthy.
No.
It develops a very high conflict relationship with your own biology in a way.
Sex ed is very important. And in the household I grew up in, there was no sex.
Now, is sex ed important? If she's entering modern dating, it is so important. If she's doing traditional dating, she doesn't have to worry about it. Modern, holy crap. And you got it, like, what are actually, and they don't even tell them the useful stuff. Do you know what's a good stat to know? If your daughter enters modern dating, you know 90% of women will get HPV, which can lead to cervical cancer. 90%. Condoms don't prevent this fully, but they help a lot. Women aren't the most careful, right? I mean, what's your experience? Are women careful? 90%. Now, there is a vaccine against it, but I do, like, there's a bunch of strands. There's new STIs forming every day. And pap smears don't necessarily, like, detect this stuff. Sometimes it doesn't come till later. Women will literally get cancer and die from this. And 90% of women get the virus. It doesn't always go to cancer. Do they teach that in sex ed? No. The fact that like 1 in 3 women has an active STD. 1 in 4 will get an abortion. Like, these stats will affect your daughters. They will. So you either go find her husband for her, enforce it or encourage it the best you can, or yeah, you are leaving your daughters up to failure. You are. And I'm not saying she will fail. Some women enter the modern dating market and they win. That happens all the time. But at what cost? How much debt? How much of everything? You know? All right, let me go.
Said there was just, you don't do it.
Also, I want to thank, we have some users. Jonathan, thank you. Yearly membership. We got another show sponsor. And Jonathan super chatted twice, I think. I haven't read it yet, but I will later. Did I say Daniel already? Oh, Daniel. No, he was next. Daniel, thank you for the membership. If we get 5 of these a show, you know, I don't even have to do ads anymore. Like 5 yearly. No, maybe 10 yearly. At some point, I won't have to do ads. And I'll be free. Although I do really like the chalk. It's in the description, guys. It's a good product. I'm not even... And by the way, you know, you can do everything right. And because women, we have these easy jobs. So, like, it's not like she has to listen. And I want to take the responsibility off of you, like, fathers, because you can't, like, the world, your daughter has free will, and you can't stop her if she wants to go be a whore. But if you don't give her the choice, like, if you don't go find a husband and at least, like, give her the choice, you can't say you did everything that, like, you could have. You can't. Like, you guys know what goes on in college. You guys all went to college. I mean, you can give her in better environments. Like, you can look for schools. If I was a dad and I didn't want to find an arranged marriage, or I didn't think my daughter would listen, what I would do is I would go find a school that has, like, very husbandly, like, jobs where there's more men than women too. That's what I would do. And has a lot of STEM jobs. There's different choices we have here. Okay. Next, we're going to go off of these purity rings. Again, the purity ring is like a performance. It's a show. It's like to save your reputation. It's signaling for everyone else. Virginity, it should be a private thing for you and your husband and not really used for clout. So this is a woman talking about her mother giving her a purity ring. And the dads find this weird. This is really pushed on by the mothers mostly.
Forget the absolute guilt and shame that I felt at 17 years old when my mother made me take my purity ring off my finger and give it back to her. So in the spirit of this whole, using the creator insights to tell you, what people are searching for on TikTok and what you want to hear, purity ring was one of them. And boy, do I have a story for you. Okay, so like many of you, I was raised in a good old Christian household, aka a incredibly hypocritical household where it was do as I say, not as I do. So I think I started hearing about purity rings when I was 11 years old. And in the church that I grew up in, it was very much like, oh, this is a cool thing. This is very exciting. You want to be a part of this. You want to stand up in front of the entire church and claim your virginity publicly for the whole congregation. God, that made me so excited to be proud of, to be a part of. So in the church that I grew up in, which was called non-denominational, but it was very much evangelical Christianity, you were not allowed to be part of the purity ring ceremony that took place in front of the entire congregation until you were a teenager. It was 13 when you were allowed to be a part of this, what now I know is a very culty ceremony. But the hype they created around it. Like they wanted you to tell your friends and they wanted you to be proud, and like the boys in the church knew that the girls that were wearing the purity ring were the ones that they were going to try to marry one day. It was all very weird. But I was in for it. I was sold on this purity ring idea. So in the Christian culture, they put such an emphasis on virginity. They literally talked about it like tainted property. My own father would say, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Well, I didn't want to be the cow. I wanted to be the prize that was won because they had convinced me that this was a good idea. So I think my mom got me my purity ring when I was 14.
See, again, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? What are they saying? The only thing you have to offer is sex. Weaponize sex to get what you want.
If I remember correctly. And I wore that ring so proudly. But you weren't allowed to be a part of the actual ceremony where you wear the white dress and you get up there and you make this public declaration that you're going to save yourself for your husband in front of the entire church body when you're 16. When you're 16 is when you're allowed to do that. Well, in the meantime, those couple of years, I started dating for the first time. I had my first boyfriend. I was so in love, but he was a good Christian boy too. So we were gonna wait, right? So we waited. In fact, we waited 2 years. For the value of the story, because I thought it was important back then, he was also a virgin. So, you've got two holy children just waiting on the Lord. Okay, in all seriousness, I did see value in waiting. I didn't want to, just share the most intimate personal parts of myself with just anybody. But me and said boy dated for 2 years before we decided to do that. So me, being the very honest person that I am, and always leaning into what my mother told me, which was, you can come talk to me about anything. I will never judge you. I will always be here for you. You can literally share anything with your mother. I hope you know that, right? I think a lot of parents have said that to their children, but do they really mean it? I remember where I was standing when I told my mother that I had lost my virginity. I was in the living room of the house that I grew up in, and I
So she's 17 in this. She's been with her boyfriend for 2 years. If you find out your daughter had sex with her boyfriend after 2 years, is it that big of a deal? Okay, that's fine. When's the wedding? That's it. It's not that. It's normal. Okay.
I said, Mom, I need to tell you something. She could tell by the tone in my voice and the look on my face that it was something more serious and that I was getting ready to be really vulnerable with her. So I did. I opened up and I said, Mom, this last weekend, I lost my virginity to my boyfriend. You know that we've been together for almost 2.5 years. And I want to be honest with you, and I want to be able to have these conversations with you because you've told me that I can talk to you about anything. And she looked at me with the most disgusted look on her face and said, give it to me. I said, give you what? Your purity ring.
Yeah, so now what's her first experience with sex? Shame. Again, back in the day, they would just get married. But the thing is, it's the mothers wanting to control the sex drive. That's what they're trying to do. Apparently, the chat says, one blowjob, she's not a virgin anymore. That's how men see it, ladies. We try to get all these workarounds.
I was like, wait, what do you mean? She said, well, I guess I'll be calling the pastors and telling them that you won't be participating in the upcoming purity ring ceremony at church. So instantly, guilt, shame. This is what religion is so good about. Guilt and shame around your purity, really guilt and shame around anything. In that moment, I learned really quickly that I could not trust my mom with...
Wait, Rollo got divorced? She apparently doesn't know Rollo got divorced. Oh, that's so sad. No, is that true? Could you guys check in the chat? That can't be true.
Anything, that she would, in fact, judge me if I shared any truth with her. I've heard story after story after story from women that grew up the same way that I did, that were basically taught that their body...
Look, I understand shame can be a good thing. Like, we should shame women that are fucking in public, okay? That's shameful. We should shame women that are just going to get better and better men and just treating men like they're disposable. But shaming a woman for having sex with her boyfriend that she loves, I mean, like, the shameful behavior, you have to understand, it's not the sex. The shameful behavior is leaving, which is usually women dump their high school boyfriends. Okay, that's the general consensus.
Were the property of their future said husband, and if
they said Rollo is not divorced. Okay, sorry. I'm not trying to, before he spurgs out, I was reading a chat. I'm not trying to attack you in any way. Please don't do a 3-hour stream on me again.
They tainted that body. They were damaged goods. Why are we teaching young women this? Why are we teaching anyone that their body is tarnished should they choose to share it with someone that they love? That was just the beginning of the guilt and the shame that I spent years undoing when it came to sex and my sexuality. Purity culture teaches that any form of sexual expression or desire outside...
Okay. Now, I made a Google sheet, and I wanted to just show you guys something. I made a Google sheet of all the traditional conservative women. Don't show my screen right now, but yeah, hold on, I gotta find it. Conservative women influencers. I think it's this one. No, not this one. I think I did in my other email. No. Is this it? Oh yeah, here we go. I took the data of 80 almost conservative women to find their average age of first marriage. And it's pretty much the same. Some of these are just guessing based on what I found online, but like for example, Lila Rose, age of first marriage, 30. So she shames men for sleeping around, but she got married at 30. Do you guys believe that she lost her virginity on her wedding night? 3 kids, which really isn't, that above average. Age of first child, 31. You risked autism for your children so you could fuck around. Totally fine. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. She did take her husband's last name. She is still married currently, but it's only been 6 years, so God only knows. Which is the next clip I wanted to react to. All right.
Justin, do you ever see yourself getting married?
No, not on paper. No.
So this is the player, and these are the conservatives trying to shame the player for exercising the only power he has in society. Other women.
Absolutely not. I believe in love and marriage and in regards to taking care of a woman fully and your
This spreadsheet's given a bit of autism. Shut the fuck up. Sorry.
responsibilities as a father and a provider and protector, 100%. In fact, I think that's probably what's broken about the world. But in regards to letting the state get into all my businesses that took me over a decade to build, absolutely not, no.
Those are very
How
smart.
do you think you're going to get to the place of that marriage you want with that family and that lifelong love that you just talked about?
I didn't say I didn't have family or children. I just said I was running your business.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you want to keep it private is what you're saying.
That's what I
I
said.
understand.
Justin has enemies.
I might have multiple family.
Oh.
You never know. I might like family more than you. So much I have 5.
Do you think that's a good thing to have multiple families?
I think it's good if there's one dad and there's not a bunch of step parents involved and the dad can be the hero and those 5 families live a 10x better life than they would have otherwise. Yes, ma'am, I do.
But you don't think that it will be ultimately an opportunity for jealousy or disharmony amongst
Women
two
are always
different
going to be
families?
jealous.
So this is like she's doing a typical female shaming tactic. I mean, do you guys love that passive aggressive voice of women trying to guilt you for things? You don't think you're putting your work above your family by doing your job? You don't think you're doing it? Yeah, and this is why they're the same. She's just got like a dress on. You know what I mean?
So what's changed
I'm not
about that?
jealous in
Women
my
have been jealous
marriage.
all the way through time. So
I'm not jealous in my marriage.
I don't care about your
Wait, let me
marriage. I'm
text
talking about
Waller.
mine. Well,
He
my
said he
life
could
is going
call
to be.
in.
So I don't answer to you. So that's my answer. I'm going to run my situation exactly how I want to. And generally, when I do that, that's when I have the most happiness, let's say, in my life. So that's all.
And you would want that for your daughters?
Yeah. I live my life unapologetically on my terms. So if my daughters that are overly spoiled and educated in every way and have friends all over the world and world traveled in the best schools in the world, if they have a problem with me at the end of the day, then they can kick rocks too. I'm not going to simp for my daughters. I'll love them fully. But if they grow up and turn into a person that doesn't want to get in line with me or look, here's my goal as a parent. Teach my children how the world works. Give them the skills so they can live on their own terms and give them choice. If they choose not to make me part of their life after I've given them those things, I've still succeeded as a father.
But I guess I'm asking if you're comfortable answering, obviously. But are you wanting to be a role model for your kids? Is that
So now she's shaming, right? She's like, "You're not a role model, bitch." Like, Justin Waller built like a giant company, and he had to work 10 times as hard. You got caught embezzling money. And you're going to say, because he likes hot women with big tits. Don't all men watch? You guys like hot women with big tits? One in the chat. You're saying because he told his wife, I'm not going to be monogamous. And she accepted it, or his girlfriend, whatever. Because she accepted that. She said, okay, I love you. I'm staying. I'm going to be monogamous too. Even though you're not. She's the wife, that's a choice. But the thing is, conservatives hate when men use sexuality for their benefit. They only like it when it benefits the woman. It's why they don't shame older marriage. It's why they don't shame, it's why they shame porn. It's why they shame anything that gives men power.
1,000%. A father should show up in every way for his children. I think I'll be better than most fathers, regardless of how many children I have. I might have 100.
But you think part of being a role model, it's okay for your kids not to know even your relationship status with their own mom?
They will know the relationship status with me and their mother.
But you have other relationships with other women, too.
What does that have to do with anything?
But I'm just wondering if you think
I haven't even said that. I'm just saying, like, if I want to, I will.
But you don't think that's a problem for your daughter?
Yeah, do you hear it? Like, conservatives hate that. If I want to, I will. Because they're so used to being able to control their husbands. If I want to, I will. Older marriage is a sin. Well, what do you think they're fucking doing before this older marriage? God, you guys are... Oh my God. The Christian simps amaze me, even in my own chat. I thought you were better. They also want to control how you have sex. You know, you're not allowed to get a Gluck Gluck 5000 from your wife if the man in the Jesus hat says not to. Can you imagine? You're like, honey, I want a Gluck Gluck. And she says no. The Jesus man says we can't. So they say they don't admit, like, Justin's wife obeys him. Lila obeys whatever priest. That's the difference. Pearl, this bitch can't admit she didn't have a brain to think for herself. My church did all that shit, and I sat down and said no. I stayed virgin of my own choice. She is so traumatized that she made a hairdo video about it. Doug, textbook sigh language. Rondolfo, have you seen the movie Joker? I don't see how many people didn't blame... So if so, I don't see how people didn't blame the mom in the movie. Rodolfo, she is annoying. It's not religion. It was your church. Jonathan. Oh, yeah. It's just my church. Yeah, totally. I hate religious people. It's like I have this special church where the things that happen in every single group across time ever, they won't happen. We're immune to simping. We're immune to these hoes. Okay. Jonathan, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Way back in the day when marriage was still sacred, highly valued, and not used as a moneymaker, young men and women waited till marriage to have sex and naturally started a family. What age were they doing that? At like 15. That was, you guys realize that was when people were married. So you're saying do it the old way, but without the old tools. The old tool was, hey, lady, you have to marry him. Otherwise, you don't get my money. Now you're saying, okay, wait till marriage with the new tools. Here's dating apps. Here's the internet. I'm not telling you how to do it. Like, it's your kids. Does it affect my life in the most respectful way? Guys, I'm black-pilled. I assume all your kids are fucked. But it doesn't affect my life, you know. Justin is saying, I live my life unapologetically on my terms is not manhood. It's a statement of the little boy saying, when I'm grown, I'm eating cookies for supper. He's a boy. I don't know. He doesn't really look like he eats a lot of cookies. Bitch, please. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying in the religion of itself has commoners. Let me interview at your church. Give me 10 honest interviews with the men there where I can ask very personal questions from the men and the women. Give me the age of the first marriage. What age is Gen Z in your church marrying? Otherwise, we're just going on believing women, which you church simps love to do. I can't blame you. Oh, you're 27. You're totally a virgin. Simp. Simp, simp, simp.
To know that about their dad, that he has multiple mistresses.
That's up to my daughter, man. You know.
But do you want your daughter to have a guy like that long term?
If he takes care of her in every way and she has a much better life because of it, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Wait, do you want to have 100 kids? Is that like low key?
I'm gonna have a bunch of kids. Yeah, I believe in having kids, man. So there's too many dumbass people having kids. Might as well.
So this is the perfect analogy. It's the wait, no, put it on the screen again. On the right, we have Lila. This is the tradcon woman who shames men's sexuality. In the middle, this is the simp who tries to make a campaign. He actually tried on Twitter to have a campaign to make men stop having sex, like out of marriage. And he's like, oh, I had all these men message me that they're going to stop fucking. And I'm like, STD stats are going up. There's an epidemic. Waller is the guy who lives life on his own terms, who society hates because he's honest. Guy in the middle, last time he went on the show, he said he hooked up with someone. I heard it was Brittany Venti. I don't know if it was or not. That was the rumor. And I'm going to spread it because I'm a woman and I hate Brittany Venti. So I heard, and she got fat. All my haters, they take themselves out. Long story short, one of these days I might react to her video to tell you how she misconstrued the story. I need to get permission first, but anyways. Okay.
We'll have a smart person have some.
Dude, is Justin low-key about to repopulate the world?
Kids are awesome.
Is Justin
Single-handedly.
Single-handedly reverse the declining birth rates?
They got all these single women out here talking shit about shit, man. Well, cool. I'll have babies with you. What's up? Now, part of it is being a smart ass right now, right? To be honest. But look, if a guy decides to have a bunch of children, I mean, you see it happen all the time. Guy gets married, he's a shitty father, shitty husband, ends up getting a divorce, and then goes has babies with the next chick, doing the same thing I'm doing, except I'm not a lying coward about it.
I hear you.
So,
I see that. I see that.
what it is.
But I think the big question is, it seems like you're really focused.
So again, they don't shame Dennis Prager, who had 3 marriages, when you could say that's worse, right? A guy having 3 women at the same time benefits the man, right? So in that way, all the women love the father and the dad's in all the kids' lives. I'm sure it comes with problems. However, it's a different set of problems. Where the guy who gets divorced and then marries again is doing the same thing, except he sees his kids 2 days a month, right? I'm not saying one's better than the other. Jonathan said, I'm not religious, not a simp. I dropped out of church because it was female-led. He said, bitch, please. Good. I'm glad you can call me a bitch. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying religion of itself uses common sense, but the church leaders twist the meaning. I'm not religious. I'm Indigenous Cree, First Nations in Canada. My people before colonies did not screw around, especially the women. Spirit marriages were for life and they were sacred. Dane, this man says, I live my life unapologetically. Oh, Dane. I do not want to go back and forth with you in this chat today. I'm going to be here all night. Oh my God. Guys, can you give me one more yearly membership to make up for Dane's? I'm just kidding. You guys work hard for your money. Okay, the man says, I live my life unapologetically. I do what's best for my family and community, no matter how I feel. Men have duties. Justin Waller lives his life on his terms. Childish. Okay.
It's on self-improvement, which is awesome. And so I guess my question would be, is it ideal? Like, what are we striving towards individually, right? And what do we think is best for society?
Oh, we got another. Oh, wait, no, that was the super chat I just read.
And I think kids want to know their parents love each other and are committed till death do they part to each other.
Yep, didn't say any of that wasn't true. You're the one saying that's not true.
Okay, but do you think it would be a little bit confusing for one of your kids if they found out, let's say theoretically?
No, because if they trust me enough to come to me, I'll just tell them the truth. What are we talking about? I'm not hiding from anything. I just told you.
I understand that.
It seems like you're challenging because you have a problem with it. I simply don't care.
So your kids, you're saying you don't care if they find out you have multiple mistresses?
If I had multiple women and then my kids came to me, then I would just talk to them like an adult. If they're adult enough to ask, I'm adult enough to tell them.
Though?
Well, whatever they ask, I'm there for. You know, that's it. Find somebody else. I don't feel bad. I'm not living truth.
You see, like, it's like the nagging, right?
Here's the difference between me and most men. Most men are doing this shit behind people's back, right? Like a fucking coward. And they're not even giving the family the life that they deserve. So if I choose to do that in the future, which I have not said I'm going to do, then so be it. But if I don't, I don't.
I hear you. I guess that you're saying you don't want to share your relationship status, but then you just said people are hiding it and being a coward. So I guess
I think there's a difference between not wanting to share one's relationship status publicly on a platform like this versus
when I have a big
family.
internet following and like offices that you can Google and all kinds of things like that. I don't want that smoke for people in my life.
I see. Yeah. Can I ask you one more question?
Did he join the Zoom or no? I don't know if I texted him. I don't know if he saw it. Okay, just keep your eye on it.
Her way, honey.
Okay. If you have only one place in your heart for one woman, or you want to have one woman in your heart, I think you said, why don't you just commit to one and choose to be faithful to her?
I'm just not wired that way. I spent my whole 20s trying to fix myself. I thought something was
You're a
wrong
man
with
of
me.
self-control. You work out, you do business.
Yeah.
You can possess your own power.
Yeah, so then she's again, men get variety somehow. They do. They get it somehow. And that's the thing. At least the whore on the other side, they understand what men are. That's how they get married, is the woman on the left doesn't understand what men are. On the right, they do. Okay, there's another example. We're going to do the call-in soon. Next, we got a girl talking about a purity culture.
The first time my parents
messed her up. And here we
The
go.
first time my parents and I ever had a conversation. The first time my parents and I ever had a conversation around sex, I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12. The second time my parents and I had a discussion around sex, I was 18 and pregnant. I grew up in a religious household, so purity culture was king. I was not allowed to attend the sex ed classes at school, and the version my parents gave me was very, very basic. After that, it was nothing but fear, shame, guilt, ignorance to both my body and my feelings. And since we weren't supposed to be having sex, we weren't supposed to be curious about it, which meant we didn't talk about it, which meant we didn't know what was healthy or safe, which can lead to some dangerous situations, but by then you're already married to that person. And I am not saying tell your kids everything up front. Keep it age appropriate. Our kids change so much during their teen years, and our approach and conversations around sex should too. It doesn't have to be serious. It can be a quick check-in. Sometimes I just ask, like, hey, did you hear or see anything that you have questions about? And if she says no, cool. But at least she knows the door is open and I'm available. But if she says yes, that gives me an opportunity to show up and support and guide her while also telling her, hey, this is a safe place to discuss this topic. All right, I'm out of here. Happy parenting.
Jonathan said that man is living his life the way he sees fit and knows what the world really is, which is full of people who don't give enough. In the end, you can only rely on yourself. Dane says that's not true. Engage with my argument or go away. Pearl, his business success and internet following doesn't equate to manhood. Men have duties. Justin just doesn't seem to think he does. We're 3 hours in. I'm not reading this argument between the two of you. Okay, I think we're going to take callers now. I might bring a couple of you at a time, but I just want your general thoughts on the topic. And a couple rules we're going to do. Number one, do not make it a diatribe. Just try to keep it under 2 minutes. I don't like cutting you guys off, but I really can't go forever. Second rule is that try to keep it. I said Pearl needs coffee. I should have got a snack before this, but I'm out of groceries because I'm leaving on Friday. So I'm I don't know. But I do want to do this show because this is really important. The other thing is, please don't overtalk me. If I tell you to shut up and you don't shut up, me and you, we're going to have problems, okay? I'm just going to take you off. I'm not here to argue. I've given you my position. I'm not here to debate. I just want to know your experience. Did it line up with this or did it not? That's what I'd like to get. What was your experience and does it line up with what I said? Your experience could be completely different from my experience and what I've seen. That's totally fair. I'm not here to tell you guys how to raise your kids. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. You are grown men, and please God, decide for yourself. If you want to marry a porn star, go do it. If you want to marry a crazy woman, go do it. I do not care. I don't. But I do want to know about your experience. That's what I'm interested in. Do I need to join the Zoom or no? Would it help or no? Does it not matter? Okay, as long as it's audio only. We're not going to do video today. None of you are going to be on screen. But like I can still see them, right? Like on this, but I can see them there to verify that they're a person. But okay. Yeah, so I'll see you guys on screen, but you're not personally going to be on screen. Okay. Yeah, we can admit the first. There we go. Oh, wait, let me turn the audio off. Okay. It's muted. Yeah, admit. I'll tell you, let's do one at a time to start, but if I think two people would be interesting together, I'll tell you. Okay, what's going on, Alex? How's it going?
Hey, I'm having a good night. How's your night going?
I'm good. So what's your thought on the topic? Does this line up with your personal experience? Does it not? You have anything I missed, maybe? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, we'll keep it into sound bites. If we're going to have kids as men, the most important thing, in fact, the only thing that really matters is whether the man shows up in their kids' lives. Mm-hmm. The stats are really clear. If you want a kid to be successful and happy, then it's about having a two-parent household, or if that doesn't happen for whatever reason, the guy's got to be present. The father's got to be present. Everything else almost doesn't matter. Now, in terms of, for the kids, in terms of the success for the coupleship, for me, my experience is I've dated some incredibly successful women, and my experience is if they're not focused on moving in the same direction, which usually they're not, they've got their own careers, that causes friction in a relationship, and that's a big issue.
Well, what do you think about the church culture? Did you grow up in a religion, or you're not on screen, so you can talk shit if you want.
Yeah, actually, my old man was actually a priest, a Jesuit, so I had a mixed relationship with the church itself.
Okay.
So I mean, as a Jesuit, you can't have kids. He left the church, then met my mom. It wasn't as cool of a story as maybe it could be, but certainly I've a significant apprehension around the church. But my working with a lot of First Nations has me doing work directly with the Vatican. So I've got to often I see a lot of issues around duplicity. I see a lot of issues around how church leaders act in one way and how their congregation acts in a very different way. They say one thing and they do something very different. And frankly, the stats on Christian couples aren't really that much better than the stats for non-Christian couples in terms of long-term success.
Mm-hmm. And do you have kids? Did you raise them with religion?
Yeah.
Like, what's your current, are you religious? What's your current, how do you plan? Wait, I'm so sorry. I asked you 3 questions at once. I'll start with, how many kids do you have? Are they boys or girls?
I have a 16-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy.
And what's your plan for them? What do you plan on sending them to school? Do you plan on helping find a guy, being involved in that what's your what's the process you're looking at?
Yeah, so they go to school. Okay. Where I am, they go to a Catholic school, both of them. Mm-hmm. And but yet that being said, I've got a very strong conversation about the difference between abstinence and contraception and those kind of things. And Do I want them to have sex? No. I want them to not have sex until they're 25 or whenever their brain is fully developed. But, that being said, the data's out there. If you don't talk about it, then you're creating a risk of having early STIs for kids or pregnancy. And is that something any parent wants?
Yeah. I'm just wondering, are you encouraging your daughter to marry young? Are you telling her to go to school? Like which? Because if she goes to school, she's getting dug out by somebody. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just trying to be honest here.
That's funny. I'm not trying to be rude, but my daughter's gonna get dug out by somebody.
If you bring her to school, I mean, like, who's a virgin by 22 when they graduate? Like, someo's gonna do it.
I was.
Women, come on. Nowadays,
you're
Gen
right.
Z. Let's just can we be real?
Yeah, so 100%. So I'm under no illusions that I think my daughter is probably going to be a virgin by the time she has she gets married. I hope that's the case, but at the end of the day, what I really want is I want her to be safe, and I want her to make good decisions about who she's selecting. Is she going to select someone who's going to be a long-term viable partner? That's really all I care about.
I'm telling. Where are you telling her? Are you telling her to date at school? Or are you telling her not to date yet? That's what I'm asking. Like, what have you encouraged her to do? Like, are you going to?
No,
are you saying are you going to send her to college to get her Mrs. degree and say focus on accounting? Like, what's your? Have you thought about it at all, or no? It's okay if you haven't.
I hope at the end of the day she finds someone who is going to be moving in the same direction as her. I don't really care whether that's, she gets some alphabet soup after her name. I have some alphabet soup after my name.
Yeah.
But it's about, for me, I care less about the traditional, is she going to wait versus is she going to choose the right partner?
No, but I'm asking, how are you planning on being involved in picking? Because women make terrible decisions. I'm sure your daughter's.
I think it's anyone under 25 when the prefrontal cortex isn't developed. Everybody makes bad decisions.
No, they didn't used to.
I think there were fewer decisions that you could make in years ago.
My grandma had
now.
4 kids by 18, and she lived a great life. She did the. She had
very different times.
I totally agree.
So am I going to control my daughter to that point? Unfortunately, I can't. I only have them about half time.
Yeah.
So the rest of the time they're with mom. And, what happens there, unfortunately, she's going to make some different decisions than me.
Yeah.
So I think what it comes down to is, can we keep our kids in the same box that we could 50, 75, 200 years ago? And the answer is no. That's just not reasonable. So in that situation, you got to arm them with knowledge, arm them with self-efficacy, arm them with self-confidence and high EQ, and then hopefully they make the best decisions.
Yeah. Show her the HPV stats. That'll scare her.
Hey, give her.
You show her those.
Gardasil is that the vaccine that guards against it or whatever?
Not really. I mean, there's 2 strands that are way worse. You're cooked if you get those. You can get that vaccine. But I do know someone else who is infertile from it. It's pick your poison. Maybe cervical cancer. Maybe a little infertility. You don't really, there's no good choice. It's just which.
I've got an undergrad in molecular biology, and I'm not an expert, so I'll defer to experts on this. Very much like Bill Burr says, what the F are we doing talking about vaccines when we're not really the experts on those?
No problem. You've been a good sport. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all good.
All right, who we got next? Okay. So, I'd like to hear, what are you guys' plans with the kids? I know a lot of you guys got kids. You guys didn't find my channel because your ex-wives were good to you. It wasn't an amicable divorce. I'm just kidding. It might have been. Mine was amicable. Okay, whatever. I'm just kidding. Okay. Pearl, is a busted up, mostly homebound vet. These podcasts show me I made the right choice divorcing my evil, cheating ex-wife 20 years ago. I don't hate her. I just don't like her. Think the 304s will always be 304s. You can't save these hoes. You can't. It's gone, you know. Don't care about, okay, they're fighting back and forth. Gabe, what's going on? You're not on camera today, but I did see you're a real person. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It's very rainy out here in SoCal.
So tell me, what are your thoughts on the topic? What is your experience with the churches? Similar, not similar? You don't have kids, right? I think you came on a different show.
Yeah, I do not have children, and I only recently started embracing Catholicism recently. I was baptized as a baby. From my very little experience I do have around religious people or the church, I mean, I kind of see what you've said before, that, you know, the church produces like the biggest 304s in a way. I do think there are some hypocrisies, but it's also been a long time since I've been around anybody who is more like, say, religious than I am.
Okay. So can you give me like a specific experience that you had that maybe like, what did you see that lined up with what I said or didn't line up maybe?
So, actually, without naming names to respect some people's privacy, I have run into a few people that are more simpy than I am, in terms of, you know, enabling or explaining away, say, the 304 behavior that you've mentioned before. I actually had this conversation recently with a close confidant who cited passages about, like, I think it was the prodigal son, or
Oh
like
my
the
God. I
passages
hate that
about.
one. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, did I interrupt?
No, I did. I'm sorry. I just said I hate that one. I was agreeing with you. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, basically, you know, the typical, like, well, I think, what, I forget which book it was, where there's like the one son is like pissed off that the father's allowing the prodigal son to come back after being a knucklehead and whatever, and basically just trying to explain away, you know, all of that. So yeah, I'm not sure if what I've just mentioned that you must be familiar with answers your question or not.
It does. They use the prodigal son as a get out of jail free card for women.
In the conversation I had with that close
Yeah.
confidant, yes, in a way. However, to that person's credit, I pretty much try to have my, you know, spiritual religious conversations with him, because he's more like devout than I am. Like I just mentioned, how I'm just starting to come back. But then also thinking back to like classmates who ignorantly will say, well, men who go to religion are using it to justify misogyny and all that rhetoric and nonsense, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Got it. Well, thanks for telling me the story,
Yeah.
Gabe. I
Okay.
got to move on to the next caller.
Okay.
But
All right.
that's all right.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure as always. All right,
Yeah.
Gabe?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next. So I need to put what? Oh, yeah. You got to let Doug in. My moderator. What's going on, Doug?
Oh, hold on. My video.
Well, you're not on.
Hello?
No one's on screen today.
Oh.
So,
Hey, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
So, I grew up in a suburb in Western Washington, and it was mostly a military suburb. Because Fort Lewis is up there, one of the biggest forts in the U.S. And when we first moved there, it was a bunch of military families, so lieutenant colonels, stuff like that. But then In the 10 years I lived there as a kid, a bunch of the military families moved out, and a bunch of Mormon families moved in. And guys, Mormons, whores. Mormon girls, whores. Tell me I'm lying, guys. I'm telling you.
Guys, one in the chat if he's lying, two if he's telling the truth.
Mormon girls, they will rage against that church by hopping on especially Tyrone and Nug Nug. I'm telling you.
Were you Tyrone, Doug? Were you Tyrone?
I've been the revenge against the Mormon church multiple times when I was young. They want to rebel by hopping on a black dude. I'm telling you. That's the first part. The second part, I met this girl online dating. She was 33, and she's one of the few B-dubs I actually liked. Because, Doug and PA, I always say you could Thanos snap 80% of black women, of American black women off this planet. Not only would nobody care, but the world would be a better place. YouTube, Doug and PA said that, not Pearl. I say that on my channel all the time. Anyway,
I denounce. Sorry.
Yeah, and also, American black men have the worst women to choose from. Tell me I'm lying. Anyway, so this girl,
but you guys get snow buddies.
And so this girl,
the Latinas have been liking you guys recently. Come on, the Asian women are coming over. It's competition, baby. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Keep going.
This girl was black, and she liked K-pop. That should tell you everything you need to know. She was into anime, K-pop, and she told me the story where she grew up in a somewhat religious household, but when she went off to college when she was 19, she met this Christian group on campus that was like a hyper Christian group. I'm talking one of those Jesus is coming any day type of groups. You know what I'm talking about, Pearl?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So this girl spent 10 years proselytizing, living by the word, and trying to wait for her husband, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was when she was 19. So when she was 30, she moved from her college town to a major city and started seeing all the hypocrisy in the church and the bigger churches in the major city. Mm-hmm. So when I met her, she first off, like I said, we're K-pop, anime, kind of socially awkward. Mm. And she told me that she was still a virgin at 33 years old, right? And she had just had sex with one guy that she had met on OkCupid. So she started online dating because she turned her back on the church, and she had her first sexual experience with a rando that she met online. And she said, if I were to sleep with her, I'd be the second person she ever had sex with. Now, you might be saying, how do you know if she was telling the truth? This girl was K-pop, socially awkward. She was...
Come on, she didn't blow anybody, get fingered, and make out nothing.
The way that she talked about her time with her religious group and how much regret she showed, I would lean towards I believe there, because all she talked about was how she used to be religious and all the regret she had from abiding by this religion for so long, and how she wished she never would have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Her first sexual experience was with some rando she met online. Could you imagine?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the men don't get someone, like, if you want her to wait and you want her to date like that, look, this is you got two options, dads. So I'm sorry, no, none of the TradCon women will tell you this. These are your options. She goes into the modern dating pool, which she's gonna get pumped and dumped a couple times. Like, there, unless your daughter's really, really hot. Be honest, guys. They can't. Not all your daughters can be beautiful. If she's a mid, she is not going to take a W the first time. If she does, she's lucky. Okay.
And here's the thing: all your parenting, even the Bible and God, almost stand no chance against social media, the smartphone, and college.
And Tyrone.
If she has, and Tyrone.
Tyrone, he's been studying for 2 decades how to bang your daughter when she gets to the city. Like, you guys think you
100%.
stand a chance? She's gonna
Yep.
eat up every lie.
Yep.
I don't know.
And then you go,
Every city's got 10 Tyrones, Chads, Brads, whoever cleaning up these cities.
we're
And
talking
you
about
guys are
every
like,
major university has a football team, a basketball team, a lacrosse team.
and look at, is your daughter, did you raise, you got to ask yourself this as a dad, did you raise your daughter good enough to compete? Does she know how to cook? Is she pleasant to be around, like around men? Does she nag like her mother, or does she act more like you? Is she feminine? You know, like, what's your, be honest, you know, how attractive is she? You know, she will go for men out of her league. It's not if, it's when. Go ahead.
Does she have the social skills to navigate on a college campus with college men without sex? Because it takes a skill. It takes women who are inexperienced. That's the first thing they do to try to get a man's attention or get them to like them. It's a hand ski or a BJ. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and it's like, you're telling me, and like their only options are don't participate socially, which makes a whole heap of problems. Some women don't do that, like the girl you dated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't have normal social experiences, or have them and get pumped and die. You got to arrange it, tie some money to it, or at least tell her, you know, I can think of like, two of my followers, they say there's no middle ground. It's either dating or like not, or I forgot what they said, but it's like, it's either modern dating or traditional. It's either arranged or it's not. But look, I can think of like 3 middle grounds. You say, okay, you have until you're 22 to find a husband. I expect you to bring home somebody from these departments. No, stay away from football players. Stay away from this. If you go for a football, he's got to be an engineering degree. You know, there's ways to like, you know, but God, these dads.
I don't even mind if.
Go ahead. But
I don't even mind if parents restrict their daughters by any kind of preference. I would meet white girls in college or my hometown and say, oh yeah, my parents, they don't want me to be with a black guy. I have no problem with that. A lot of people do, but who cares? You know, some of the most racially loyal people are freaking Asian people. Asian women will only date their type of Asian. They won't even date other types of Asians or white guys. And that's
gone.
it. I have no problem with that. Dude, don't go where you're not wanted, guys. Who cares?
Doug, that is gone. I want to get your take on something, because I was thinking about how they say that women are like, propaganda makes women make certain decisions. And I was thinking about, I've run Facebook ads. You cannot make someone make a decision unless they already want to. So like, the woman who's fat, like a donut ad is going to work on her, but she already wants to be fat. Do you know what I mean? So like, they'll blame the propaganda, but I'm like, it worked because that's what like women want to do. Like, they want to be whores.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like,
I agree. That's what the algorithm's all about on like TikTok and freaking Instagram. It tries to figure out what you want, because you're not going to look at something or view it unless you want to. You know, what you're talking about is a multi-billion-dollar business, Pearl.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your thoughts, Doug. A pleasure.
Always good talking to you. Have a good one.
A pleasure as always. You can't save these hosts. But fathers, if you want to try, you got to get a better strategy than what you're doing now. I've heard no strategy from any of these dads. Now, look, I'm not saying you even have to. I mean, you guys have probably been through the ringer in family court. You're like, look, daughter, you are not my problem. I have no authority. But what I don't want you to do is be delusional. Chad and Tyrone are waiting on these college campuses. They're like, I'm ready to teach your daughter how to gluck 3000. That's what they're saying. So, you know, if your strategy is send her to college and like hope it works out. We're in a different time. You guys used to meet at work. You guys used to meet in school. These players are savages now. It takes an act of God to lock them down. Your daughter's going to have to wait a decade for a ring. You got to prepare her for this. This is or make her marry a simp. Say you're stuck. I don't know which you prefer. But yeah, we got Glenn on the show. Glenn, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Listen, I have a confession to make, Pearl. Okay. I have made a lot of these hoes in the church. Not just met them, made them. My youth group days was not very good. I didn't go there for Jesus when I was in.
You were in youth group. You were banging the women in youth group.
Why do you think I went to summer camp? Do you really think it was to sing Kumbaya and make fucking, weird little stuff with sticks? No.
So you went to church to bang out these broads. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. Like it was a spiritual enlightenment. But, I digress. But, but there's no, women are just women. Right? There's women. Just like there's bad women and good women, it's all the same woman. It depends on how she sees you. And, these guys need to really stop thinking that like you could pray the hoe out of her. You really can't.
What do you think about the arranged marriage attached to an inheritance? How do you see that playing out?
Oh, yeah, I like that idea. I mean, like a dowry.
Yeah, where you say, you know what's even better? You give the money to her husband. So you say like, yeah, you can actually have this money, but I'm giving it to him.
I'm all for that. Like, think about this.
Can you imagine?
Right? Like,
they would get
let's say
so
like there's
mad.
like this amount of money that's in an account, right? And like it's for the girl, right? Like, okay, look, you get all this money once I'm dead, right? And if you haven't cheated. But if you cheat, I get all that money and you get the fuck out and you leave with nothing.
And give the money to the husband. That would make it worse.
Yeah, the husband gets the money. The husband keeps that money.
She'd get more pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? She'd like, yeah, that's hilarious. But you're for it, so you'd consider.
You know what's funny?
It?
Like one of your tweets earlier was like, about like guys or the need for sex.
Okay.
I don't know why people that are like religious don't realize that the Bible talks about it. It's pretty fucking clear.
Tell me the verse. Tell me the verse.
Oh, we could go to chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1 through 8. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today and we're going to bless you with some holy scriptures. Okay. It basically says like if you can't like avoid temptation, then it's better for you, each man to marry his own wife and each woman to have her own husband, and not to deny one another of their marital rights. That means like that ass is his, ladies, and the D is yours. So he can't tell you you can't have no D, and you can't tell him he can't have that ass. Like, unless it was for an agreed amount of time that was committed to fasting and prayer. But then you get right back on your knees and, put the ass in the air.
Can you imagine?
Does it say that in there?
Can you imagine dating a woman who said she can't blow you because of God?
I'll be like, where's that? Where does it say that? Where's it? Where? Because,
And some of these guys fall for this. You're idiots.
I'll be like, well, I don't know how I feel about this. I need to talk to the Lord.
Hear me out. I have a solution. I think churches would be better if we banned women from them. Imagine we ban them and we say, look, 0 women allowed, and women have to treat their husband like a god. And he gets to interpret the Bible for them.
I love that because, Peter writes about that in 1 Peter. He's like, you guys are daughters of Sarah, and like she called her husband Lord, like Abraham Lord. So I'm like, you know what? Can we bring that back? Why start calling your husband Lord, lowercase L, right? Like, just want to be called Lord every once in a while. It's not that hard, But it's also funny is that like I don't think there's any women in heaven.
Why? Why?
Oh, because there's this like verse in the Bible in like Revelations where it says like after like the seventh seal or the seventh like seal or trumpet sounded, there was silence in heaven for like 30 minutes. Name one woman you know that knows how to shut up for 30 minutes. Okay.
It's really hard.
No women in
It's
heaven.
really tough. I've been talking for 3 hours and I could keep going. I could keep going. I could do this for another 3.
Oh yeah, easy. But you know, here's in all seriousness, the church has really fucked up sex. They've ruined sex. They have destroyed sex, the teaching of sex in you know, to these young people. When we grew up, you had the purity culture, you had the promise ring, right? Now you got these women that have the promise ring, melting the promise ring into the shape of a vagina, a sculpture. Did you see that? Yeah.
I mean, even the promise ring is weird, Doug. It's weird.
It's bad.
I mean, like, it's just the mothers wanting to virtue signal their children. Like, can we call it what it is? They want to say my kid's pure. Look it, wear the ring. Show everyone how pure you are. Wear the ring. Wear the ring.
Do you know how many girls wore that ring while I was in there? Never mind. Loopholes everywhere. But what it is like we don't realize, the church fails to realize that sex is what drives dominion. You know, we have created everything in technology and advancements in society because of sex. Sex drives the dominion. So men's nature of wanting sex, it's a need. If men don't have sex, then they don't have that drive to have dominion over this earth, to create things, to advance things. So for those that say that sex is not a need, it's a want, yeah, you're wrong. And if that was all right, here's a bad take, Pearl. But if sex wasn't a need, would these priests be getting in trouble like they were? You know what I'm saying?
I said that earlier. Yeah, I mean, only 2% of priests, they did a study of priests over 25 years, only 2% were able to do celibacy. So are you better than a priest? No.
Oh, I'm definitely not better than a priest. Have you ever seen my confession videos that I made?
No, I haven't.
Oh my, I dress up as a priest and I take confessions. It's hilarious. Okay. And I get these women that do the most wildest confessions.
Oh, that's
wildest confessions.
Next show, I'll react to it. But I do got to get to the next caller, Glenn.
All right, sis. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for calling in.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Put maybe do the guy at the Frank one. He's got a profile picture. I am more likely to let you guys in if you have a profile picture. Make sure you guys are muting the thing. Welcome to the show, Frank. By the way, I do need you to put your camera on so I see you're a real person, but you are not on screen, so no one will see you. Okay, I see you're real. You can turn it off if you want.
Yeah, I just got back home from the gym. Yeah, you know this weather. We're in the same area, so yeah, it's shitty.
Okay, so where are you calling from? Do you have what's your age?
I'm from Chicago.
What's your age and do you have kids?
Yes, I have 2. I'm 37.
Okay, are you with the mom still or no?
No.
Okay.
Now that situation.
Okay, so
we left a while ago, and yeah.
Okay, so give me the rundown. What's your experience with the church? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Disagree?
Well, I just want to touch back on what you said about the Justin Waller situation, what she was saying, and like the whole thing, how there's so much against pornography. I personally think it's a way to siphon all of that sexual energy to them, so that way they can use it to manipulate you. That's kind of what I see is like the whole trad con way of approaching relationships. It's like to give that all of that power to them, because it's like, you know, you're not supposed to masturbate, you're not supposed to watch porn, you're not supposed to be with anybody else. And it's like you funnel all of that into one person, and it's like that one person, they may not be benevolent, they may not have good intentions. And if you look at everything that I've seen on the show, it's like sometimes I wish I didn't know what I know now, because I'm almost like like black people. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. And then when somebody's standing on what they mean, like Waller was doing, it's almost like blasphemy. She was doing every type of verbal judo she could to try to like denounce what he was saying. But when you get to a certain level, you can do what the hell you want to do, right?
Do you have a specific story that like happened to you? They can't see you at all, so like you can talk shit here, just so you know. So if you have a specific story like that happened with an ex or like someone you know that where you realized what you said.
Well, the sexless marriage thing never really happened to me. So I mean, a specific story. I mean, I've had a few encounters with women that when you let them be free and be like, hey, I don't judge, right? Like you like, hey, just go ahead and tell me. I've heard of women being in like gang bangs and out of town and doing all type of just real lascivious behaviors. And that was actually most recently. She was cool. Here's the thing about the body count thing. I'm not looking for nothing like that anyway, to be completely honest. So it doesn't matter to me. It's just like I almost feel bad for these guys out here to have that inclination. And and if you're a guy out here that's looking for something like that, I'm like, man, feel bad for you. Me, I'm a guy for a good time, and I tell him that directly. And I like Waller did. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm on his level or nothing like that, but I base myself on myself, not anybody else. But yeah, that's the story I have. I know it's kind of long-winded. That's the story I have. The most recent encounter I had, she was kind of like, yeah, I was, and the reason, it was two women. No, it was another guy. I'm like,
oh, damn, fuck.
Yeah.
Did she look like? Did you expect it based on how she looked? Like, what was her like archetype? Like race, age, like body composition. I don't know. Like, what did?
So she's cool. She was a little bit on the thicker side, flatter stomach for her proportion, but not like a heavy.
Was she a whale? Were you doing a whale? Were you? I said, was she a whale?
You see me dancing around it. Hey, but no. So
sorry.
Yeah, a little bit on the.
Would you take her in public? Like, be honest. That means no.
To be honest, yeah. She's on the like, you heard the euphemism "one cheeseburger away."
Oh, okay. She's like at the end, the like.
Yeah, okay. Like that. So, and then she was cool. She wasn't scared to put that person on the table. I got this saying. It's your mouth can lie. You can tell me anything, right? Your sexual proclivities. A woman can go and mess with 10 different men, like the movie Casino, right? A woman can mess with all them dudes around. Max is the guy, the simp that she got to marry her, that he begged for her, and her heart was still with James. I'm not sure the name of the character. James Woods' character, the pimp. Her mind went to him. I'm not, advocating for that because I know there's a connotation that comes with that. But just in terms of the mindset, like if you're willing to invest, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do. But
yeah. So what's your plan? Do you have a daughter? Two daughters. God always curses players with daughters, So what's your plan? How old are they?
14 and 6. Like,
what's your plan with them?
Well, you just mentioned it right before you took my call, how there's a level in the game where it's unfortunate, but you just got to go, you know what? I'm here when you're ready to have that relationship. And that just has to be that. Like, there's this expectation. And I've heard you speak on this before of like, why didn't you fight more? Why didn't you crawl across broken glass to be disrespected and to kiss the feet, right? And it's like, you know what? Sometimes as a human being, you got to go, you know what? I'm available. I'm here, but I got to respect myself. I have to love myself overall.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, so you don't have contact with them regularly? Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do. What? I'm just curious. What would you do? Like if you could, what would be the plan? Like, would you arrange them to have it? Like, especially from like a guy that's like, more of a player. It sounds like what I'm gathering, like you've kind of seen the worst of women. So like, what would you go the arranged route or try to? Would you send him to school? Like, what would you do?
So what I would want for them to have a realistic expectation of human nature. I'm more like I'm like an evil sight guy. You know how Sartain is like an evil sight guy. I'm not sure relationship with Sartain, but yeah, in that vein, people are going to be people. People are going to have their desires. I'm not saying that we should cave into them, but I would want for her to be in a situation with somebody that is going to keep it 100 with her, and not build a relationship on a foundation of like just really lofty expectations. Yeah, that's what I would want. Now, would I nail it down to, hey, I want her to have a dude that is going to be super duper like trash con? Potentially, that would be cool, but you got to think about women's like primal desires, and is that going to be feasible in the long run for her?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I had a conversation today with somebody about like, the man that commits to you, unfortunately, that is a marker of like, okay, well, am I the best he can? Is the man am I the best he can do? So even in that commitment in that relationship, you have to have this like a mindset of like if you raise your finger the wrong way, or if you say something the wrong way, then there's other options that I will go explore. You can not in an abusive way, which I know that word is bastardized.
Yeah.
Like, you say a lot of truths about how words have been, the meanings have been changed. That's a deeper rabbit hole to go down with, all of that stuff, which I don't really care to get into too much on here, but
Yeah.
I hope that answers the question. I know I went on like a long journey to get to a singular point, but
it's okay.
That's my view on that.
I'm sorry to hear about the daughters. I hope they come around. Usually around like 12 or 13, if the mom's crazy, they kind of start to notice. So
and now that so I trust you with anonymity, because I've seen the other callers on the show that didn't have their voice on there. So I caught. I wasn't an angel either. I can lie and say I was an angel, no, I wasn't an angel either. But I found out some things, and now I have some questions. And year 3 is this year of like child support court. So I'm expecting to be summoned back in. I'm waiting on that because things have changed. What you see me at right now is like my house. All this stuff just happened, and I'm like kind of in shock that it happened. So things have been going up a steep upward trajectory pretty fast. So, I'm definitely going to be petitioning for a DNA test. And not that it even matters at the end of the day. It's just more for my peace of mind, because I'm going to have to pay anyway.
Yeah. And you never know. Like, women date men that look the same. Most women, if you look at their exes, they have a type. So you never really know. Like, if she was cheating, you got to make sure. So that's smart.
Yeah, you see some dude so when you find things out, and it's like your whole world is like, damn, like really, is this what it is?
Yeah.
You start to go back on like the timeline of like, okay, was this dude really your cousin? Was this he kind of looked like her, So that rabbit hole, I'm sure a lot of other men have gone down that. Like, damn, they start to question like a lot of other things in the past too. So I have questions, and I should have questions. Look at. You've gone over you parsed over the statistics in regards to what, like the rate of like when men find out that they're not the father.
Yeah.
So
do you? I'm curious. Do you see them ever or no? Like, do you get? Because I was like, you could just test them on your own if you like know someone that could just. It's like a hair strand, I think. So I don't know if you know anyone that knows them, but you could just.
Yeah.
Like, like ancestry.com, you don't even need the state to do it.
That's a good point. Because my strategy, and this one is kind of like, to do this would probably, like, for the judge, it would kind of draw the ire of them, probably, to be like, hey, I want a DNA test. And she's probably trying to drag me in there for an increase. So I caught her with she was talking like 2, 3, or 4 different dudes. No, well, let me be specific, like 2, and then there was another one that I found out everything that happened. You know how dudes are. We find out. We want to know the specifics.
Was she sleeping with them or just like texting? Like how bad?
She said she was lying about one. She said she didn't sleep with the other 2. I think she did, but I can't confirm that. I can confirm the one, and when I found out one, I was like, yeah, I called the U-Haul and got up out of there. I packed all my stuff in my charger that I had at the time, contracted bags. I didn't really care about the pleasantries. I just got up out of there. Her friend called her and was like, yeah, he's leaving. And her friend was trying to beg me to stay, and she was, sassy talking stuff. And then she ended up, she's remarried now. She's married to someone else, another guy, so I spent a lot of time, and again, I'll try not to be so long with it. I know you got a whole show you running, but I spent a lot of time, like wishing negative and wishing bad and hating and all of that. Just like, bad scenario. I don't want to use specific words, but bad scenarios happening to them, and not them, but her. Never anything on them. They didn't do anything. They're just victims of circumstance at this point. But I just was like, I ain't finna waste all of that and all of that time trying to think of that when I can think about building things for myself. So
no, it's smart. I've seen I've talked to men that waste $300K and don't see their kids. You know what I mean? Like the guy who sponsors the show, he spent $1.5 million on a divorce. He got 49% custody, which is pretty good. But that was 1.5. You have 1.5 million to spend to see your kids. Most people don't, or want to even. Just give them a college fund or something.
The thing about that is things dissipated because it's like you reach out, and then you stop getting answers, and then it's like birthdays, you don't hear anything. Father's Day, you don't hear anything. It's just after a while, it takes a toll, and it's like, you know what? They got a situation over there. I'm paying the amount of money a month, right? Which is enough to cover the rent. So whenever you're ready to talk, I'm here to listen, and I'm here to build that relationship whenever you're ready. Rather than that, as a human being, I have a right to my dignity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times in society, and I firmly believe this, it's like this, like we're not even entitled to our dignity. It's like you have to crawl, like the analogy I used earlier, like crawl on your forearms across broken glass to be disrespected again. Like, no. No, taking my ball and going home if that's the case. And then when you come back around, I'm ready to have that conversation, and I'm standing on that.
No, it's a good choice. It's really smart. If I were you, I would literally, if you know someone that sees the kids that you can trust, I would just do it. I wouldn't even.
And I think a part of that too is, keeping them away from it. Like, cause I'm in Chicago, I'm in the south suburbs now. Like I frequent like south suburbs and the city. I just came back from the north side, and so that's why I mentioned earlier about the weather. Like I know we're in the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, to keep, and that was a strategic thing to keep all of that line of communication away, so that wouldn't be possible. You know what I'm saying? Like I've gone down all of these rabbit holes and all of this stuff. And then the best thing I came up with, and I like the what you suggested too. That's another good option, but with the ancestry, that's another strategy. But like to petition them for the DNA test. But in doing that, I mean, like I said, that's you running the risk of drawing the ire of the judge and all of them. Because you know how they are. It's like
Well, I wish you luck in your situation. I think you're very smart because a lot of guys waste a lot of time and energy. Like you got to focus on yourself. So thanks for calling.
Because external pressure. Because then it's always this. And think about this too. And what's the version of a deadbeat mom? Like Kevin Samuels, one of my favorites. That's my fraternity brother too. One of my favorites, right? Yeah. May he rest in peace. So he had a show. He mentioned that it's like you have to be, and I'm not trying to act like I'm some hero or nothing like that, but it's like Batman. You have to sometimes let yourself become the villain instead of continuing to push for something like that.
Yeah.
Because then I've heard tales from the crib, like with my cousins, going and dealing with them, and then the other dude is around, and they get into it with the other guy, and because they get you already mentioned how there's this whole thing about man fighting over like over the queen, this whole thing where I'm exalted and these men are fighting over it. It's real silly.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not feeding into none of that. Like you can't have none of my spirit. I'm cool.
Yeah. Well, I wish you luck with your situation. I do got to take the next caller, but thank you very much for calling in, okay?
Thank you, Pearl. Take care.
Yeah, bye.
All right.
Okay, guys, we did have another, yearly membership. How many did we get this show? You guys are killing it. So one from Steve M. So we got one. So if we get, let me count. One yearly, I'll take like 2 more callers. One yearly, just want to count the yearly memberships. 2 yearly, 3 yearly, 4 yearly. Oh, nice guys. We're almost able to not have ads. Yeah, I think we need like 1 more to get to 500 a show. We need 1 to cover our costs by the end of the year, but the first 3 weeks we were not getting 1 a show, or the first month of this year. Let me do the math next show. Okay, I saw you were a real person. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Hi, Will. How are you?
Doing okay.
So what's your thought on the topic of religion and shaming male sexuality? Did you see the monologue earlier?
I saw a lot of your content earlier.
Okay, so
I see that the topic is.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on it? Go ahead.
I think mothers kind of ruin a lot of things for their children, like no offense, like I'm trying to keep it not offensive or whatever, but I don't have that much of a religious background other than the fact that I do event work, and so I work a lot of weddings.
Mm-hmm.
I've been the guy who plays the music for a lot of these things, and I've seen a lot of these things not be very good because Mother of the Bride turns into Bridezilla. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I have.
And boy, I feel bad for these poor kids getting married sometimes. We're talking like young conservative Christian, young adults, 19, 21, and they asked me for requests. And Mother Bride comes over and says, "Don't play anything that my daughter asked for." I'm like,
what?
Wow.
No way.
Yeah. And then they're very, very stern about playing their music at their daughter's wedding, and they fail to recognize that this should be an event about her and not about old lady time. You know what I'm saying? I can't help but imagine what their larger family picture looks like in those situations. So that's one end of it that I've seen. And that's kind of religious because that takes place in churches and religious communities. I live in a major city, but I do a lot of these works in the rural areas as that's part of the business as well. So I see some of that. That's one thing that I got. But, is this really a topic about shaming the sex? Mothers are trying to use shame against their daughters. Is that your view of what this is about?
No, well, daughters and sons both. It's more people have sex drives from like a young age, and the solution used to be you get married. Like you get an arranged marriage and then you just stay together for life. They set their kids up for failure because they don't do an arranged marriage or something similar.
Right.
But they just say no sex, no sex, no sex. And I just don't think that's a good solution.
Well, sometimes on this show, I've heard you say that maybe we should shame sex more. And now we're in a situation where it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that?
Well, I talked about that earlier in the show. I do think when women have sex with 1,000 men in a day, That's like I don't know.
I'm not saying that's good either.
Yeah.
You ask some of these fathers or potential fathers what they would do. And I think that what you just said is actually pretty interesting, because it's like the idea of bringing people into a family and keeping it kind of a committed unit.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of like the way to go if I were a father of a daughter. But I think, like has been discussed on the show many times, is like the diminishing power that fathers are able to actually get a hold of in these situations. And insofar as finding a social remedy for that, I don't even know what's available. And I wouldn't really know what to tell people to do. And it's something that I'm sure makes a lot of people sad. Without blaming individuals and without blaming women as a whole or men as a whole, it's like, what can we do to make communities stronger? The smallest starts at the family unit. And I just don't like seeing what's happening to civilization, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the DJ thing was interesting. Do you have anything else you want to share on the topic?
I think that it's kind of the way I started out is there's a lot of ways that mothers, and this isn't about me, this isn't about anybody in particular, but mothers can sometimes still like think that it's still all about them, even though it's not their time has passed, And have you ever been in a situation, maybe you haven't, have you ever been in a situation where you get into a family and it's really entirely about cock blocking? Have you ever seen that?
No, wait, tell me more. Tell me more about the situation. Maybe I have. I have to hear it.
Or it's like, have you ever dated a woman and they got a bunch of sisters and it's all about like trying to troll the new boyfriend?
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that kind of does like a subtle dig that actually does serious damage sometimes. Because you find it's like maybe somebody has lost respect somewhere because somebody didn't realize that they were walking into a trap where there are going to be all these people kind of going for the throat a little bit.
I never thought about that point of view. Like
Right.
I never, but yeah, I've definitely seen it, but wow.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Here's a good question
go
to
ahead.
test it. Have you ever been on a family visit with your boyfriend? And I don't want to make this too personal because it's weird, but like if you're staying at their house, do you have sex at their house or not? That's like an indicator of something.
At the person's
the person's family's house.
Oh, like if they have sex, they don't respect the dad.
I mean, I don't know how I'm sure there's a lot of different social.
I'm just wondering what your conclusion would be.
Let's say you're doing a vacation. I'm visiting somebody's family, and the dynamic of cock blocking gets to the point where it's like, well, we're on a vacation now, we're not having sex.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, is that because like things didn't go well with the family, or is this a situation of people are too nervous to have sex like under the same roof, or something like that? Right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of these like really nuanced kind of ruinings, I think, that sometimes happen. I don't even want to say it's about mothers, but parents. And sometimes it is. Sometimes mothers tend to be.
It's like they can't give the authority to the new guy like they want in the old family, right?
That's an element of what I'm talking about. Sometimes these mothers, like, they're a little narcissistic about it. They think that the spotlight is still on them, and it's like, wait, hold on, like, when is it ever going to be your daughter's turn, right? Have you ever come across that? I don't know. That's just I'm just trying to help the show,
I think of that when I think of like when women renew their vows, it's because they can't like get the spotlight off of them. Like that's what I think it is. Like what's the point? Like you're together,
right?
Everyone knows you're together, but like you can't let your kids get married and like have the spotlight be on them. Like you need to, like, the dads don't give a shit about renewing their vows.
Right.
Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, when is it ever enough for some of these people? Yeah, and that hurts other people. That hurts families. That hurts the next generation. They're trying to form something that can last. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I got to move to the next caller, but
Yep.
that's a very interesting point of view. So call back anytime, okay?
Cool, thanks.
All right, we're going to do one more caller. Okay, I got to address this because Dane's kind of blowing me up. Dane's like one of my super fans. Doug, did you ban Dane in the chat? What's going on? I mean, we can't ever ban Dane. We got to let these guys roar. He's telling me there's a banning. I don't mean to be rude. Okay, this is going crazy. And now he's telling me to stop white knighting for Rolo. I'm a fan. I don't know what to tell you, Dane. I don't know. I got to get the situation. We'll come back next show, Dane. I need you to stop blowing me up about this. Okay. Respectfully, I love you, Dane. All right, give me one more, and then we're going to the next one. Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well. Is it okay if I turn off my camera?
Yeah, that's fine. I just need to see that you're a person. Someone flashed porn once, and I just can't.
Oh,
it was I always got to make sure, but no one's on camera. So what's your thought on the topic of church shaming? I don't know if you saw the monologue, but
I did most of it. Okay. I did bounce back and forth from you and Andrew Wilson. His TikTok invasion. I like watching him a lot.
Yeah. So what was your thoughts on
most of it?
Did it line up with your experience in life or no?
To an extent, for sure. I definitely grew up in the church pretty much my entire life. And I am a firm believer in Jesus Christ. And I would say I'm more non-denominational than anything, which I understand that Orthodox people don't really like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But in church, what I really see as the problem is even whenever they go over verses and they're talking about marriage and they're talking about parents, what they will be talking about is husbands, love your wives, and wives, submit to your husbands. Now, husbands, this doesn't mean you get to, and then they negate any kind of authority that the husband and father has. They just go on about, don't overlord it. You're not supposed to do that. Whenever I firmly believe, if anybody was to objectively read the Bible, the fathers are supposed to govern and rule their households. The word for husband used throughout the Old Testament is either the word man, just simply man, or it is Baal, which means master, ruler, lord. So they're commanded to take care and steward their household. If they don't do that, then they're failing. In the New Testament, it talks about Sarah, whose children women of faith are, if you are like her, who called Abraham Lord and obeyed what he said. But they take away the authority from the father, and then whenever they do that, the mother decides, I have to step in because I don't want my child going off track. So they step in, and because they're stepping in, the father's just kind of in passive mode. And if the father's in passive mode, then it's just going to continue going downhill, though the mother's trying to do the best that she can. So they're stripping the authority from men as a whole. Nowhere in the Bible is it ever commanded that you have to have a priest, a pastor, a government say that you can have this woman in marriage. The word for marriage in the Old Testament is to take, to procure, pretty much. So there was, whenever Jacob married, when he thought he was marrying Rachel, and instead he married Leah, it doesn't say that anybody officiated that. Whenever Isaac took Rebekah into his tent and they were married, nobody officiated that. What we don't understand anymore is the fact that the man of the house has governed rulership over his family. So I think we should completely go back to arranged marriages. What people think of whenever they hear that is, oh, I'm 27. You think my father is going to tell me I have to marry this dude? Well, no. The most heightened time of sexual desire is whenever we're, I'll just say 18.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it's really like arranged marriages isn't for like the people in the dating pool now. It's for their kids.
Right.
No. Like I really think arranged marriages are done by 21, 22 tops, cooked. Now you're modern dating. Done.
I completely agree.
There was your window. You're done. But okay. Do you have any like personal stories you want to share? Like, did you ever bring something to the church and it didn't work, or like something like that?
Not necessarily bring something to the church, though I've had conversations with pastors and people that I've known for decades, some I've known for years, and they don't want to admit what they're reading. They just kind of try to twist it to an extent. I definitely was involved in regards to getting a purity ring, and that's exactly what's right, which is some things that I will completely differ from you on, which I think that if I was to simply type it in the chat, then, I could be called a simp.
It's all right.
No, it's okay. I'm not a bad looking.
I call a lot of men simps, so
so do I.
I called Tom Brady a simp, so every guy's a simp. Every guy's a simp sometimes. Go ahead.
I completely agree. I think the simping is ridiculous, and men do it so often, which is why a lot of relationships fail, because instead of being upfront and blunt, this is what I expect, this is what you're not going to do, this is what I'm looking for, I'm running my race, I'm living my life. If you want to help me, what you were created for, if you want to help me and be a part of this, then that's great. Here's my guidelines. What instead happens is guys, the stats in regards to 18 or 19 to 30, a third of them are virgins or haven't had sex in the last year. They're just starving to have relations with a woman.
They're desperate, yeah.
Right. So why would they say something that's going to cut off their one chance? This is the woman I have access to. So instead, if they do get into a relationship, then they want to bring these things out later on. No, I don't want you wearing that. No, you're not going to that party by yourself, and I don't want to go. Well, you're controlling. You're this and that. So it's all ridiculous. But in regards to, is it difficult to be self-controlled and to wait until marriage? Of course it's difficult. In the way that they hype up the virtue signaling of purity rings, I completely agree with you. But in regards to what we're called to do, obviously the standard is going to be something that not everyone's going to meet. I don't think that anybody, man or woman, should just be going and sleeping around. Do I desire to do that? Of course I desire to do that.
Don't you think it's just like substituting one sin for another? Like,
in what way?
Because if you're not sleeping with women, like if you're not sleeping around with women, because like, let's be honest, to get a relationship as a guy, that's really what you have to do to some extent. In modern dating, not traditional. So like you're going to be watching porn or like masturbating. Like there's just no way. So you're just like, substituting one. Like, it's almost like people will say, if you like, they'll say things kind of like you're saying, like, oh, if you just did what you were called to do, like, and not everyone can live up to the standards. Well, priests can't even live up to that standards, like literal priests.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, you're just substituting one sin for another,
I completely get your point. In regards to masturbation, the Bible doesn't ever say you can't do that. Why do I think it doesn't say that? I mean, the church calls it a sin, sure. Does that mean that it's a sin? No, God didn't call it that. So instead, they're putting their voice in the place of God. In regards to watching porn and other things like that, I would say it's not good to sin, period. But if you are going to screw up somebody else's daughter that's not your wife, or you're simply going to mess with your own mind and ruin the potential in regards to your own self.
Yeah, but you didn't destroy her. Like, she destroyed herself. If she didn't do it with you, like, she's just going to do it with someone else.
That is true, but that's exactly why I think the fathers really have to come into picture here. It's
they can't.
I mean,
no authority. They can't. You're the last guy, like 2 callers ago. He hasn't seen his daughter. What's he going to do?
Right. Yeah. Which I think is completely designed by the government and the ways of the world, because we already know that a single mother is not going to raise a child to be a productive citizen as often as a man would do that, yet the courts want to give the children to the mother.
Yeah.
The Bible says that the wife and the children and the home belongs to the man, instead of using the word property. So if we're going to view it objectively, regardless of what makes us happy or feel good, that's what I would say in regards to that. But priests, they're not designed to be celibate. Of course, sex is a need. The Bible actually in the New Testament, which is why I have a lot of problems with Catholicism, is, it says, call no one on earth your father, and we're calling a man our father. The Bible says it is a doctrine of demons to forbid marriage. So we're going to put women as nuns and men as priests and say that these are your examples, but we're forbidding them from marrying. That's completely against what they say they stand for.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to do something crazy.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate the insight.
Of course. I appreciate the time. Thank you, Pearl.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Valentine's Day is coming up. And I think I'm going to do a Valentine's Day show tomorrow. Because I do have plans. Sorry, you guys. I know there's a lot of you in the chat that are like, what am I going to do? I don't know. You're not hanging out with me. I'll tell you that. Okay. I don't know. Unless maybe earlier in the day, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, I'm tired and I'm hungry, so I got to go. Like the video on your way out and subscribe. And thank you so much. You guys are so generous. Seriously. We've had 5 people get my yearly memberships. Okay, if we did that every show, how long would it take for us to be YouTube free? I don't want to run my numbers, but at least everyone that works for me is covered for. If we did that for... wait, I'm not doing the math right. Okay, it would take a couple months, but you know what? We're getting closer. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and I'll see you later. Bye.